Aloha mai kako. I would like to call tonight's meeting to order. Let the record reflect that today is Tuesday, August 29th, and it is 6:02 p.m. At this time, I'd like to call on Board Secretary to call the roll. Eo. Aloha everyone and welcome to our first Oahu Island community meeting. It's such a pleasure to be down here with you folks. And we had such a wonderful day visiting this beautiful Aina, hearing our history, hearing the history of this place and all the good that it's doing for our people. Mahalo for your hospitality. We are so grateful to be here with you tonight. This meeting can be viewed and observed via live stream on OHA's website at www.oha.org/livestream. Before we begin, I would also like to ask each trustee to introduce themselves and their staff at this time. Trustee Souza.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha mai kako. My name is Keone Souza. I'm the newest at-large trustee. I want to introduce my staff member, Rochelle Kim. It's a pleasure to be out here on the West Coast, seeing a community that's so deeply rooted in the culture. And for us as trustees and our administration and Office of Foreign Affairs, we want to make sure that no community gets left behind. It's super important for us to be here and see what goes on and fill the gaps and help where is needed. So I look forward to working with you folks. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Mahalo, Trustee. Trustee Souza. Trustee Trask.
Aloha, I'm Mililani Trask. I am the trustee of the Big Island of Hawaii and currently serving as the vice chair of the board. I'm so happy to be here. I'm old enough to remember when Auntie Aggie had a dream, and it was when the first building came up that we came to Seapule here. And for many years I have not been back. Only your reputation precedes you. I can see the great accomplishment, and having observed what has occurred here these last 40 years or so, I have invited the folks here to please take some photos, show our people what you are doing and what you have accomplished. OHA has a monthly newsletter. We send out 100,000 copies. Our people need to see that we can achieve what you have achieved in health. I just have to say mahalo anui loa. I am so happy to see this. I'm so honored to be in your presence. Your message will uplift our people. Send the photos of your smiling faces and what you have achieved so that we can show our people that we can all do it. We can do it by your way. Good job, Waiʻanae. Oh yes, my staff is here from Big Island. She is Kahelelani Keavikane. She and her husband are the kahu of our Hawaiian church in Waimea and also the one in Hamakua Coast. Kahelelani.
I also would like to introduce our staff, my staff, the board secretary, Lehua Itokazu, my aides, Kanani Iaya and Amber Kalua. And at this time, I'd like to turn the time over to your trustee, the Oahu trustee, Trustee Kalei Akaka.
Aloha mai kako, aloha pumehana. My name is Kalea Kaka, and I'm honored to serve as your OHA Oahu trustee, as well as the chair of one of two of OHA's committees, which is the Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment. Joining me this evening is my team, my Akaka team. We have Nathan Takeuchi over here, and we have Mark Watanabe, as well as a larger extension of my team is my ohana. I have here my husband, Tyler, and our baby, Anna, over here. Baby Anna. Before we continue, I just wanted to say that we send our heartfelt aloha to those that have been affected by the wildfires on Maui. I also wanted to say mahalo nui to the Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Center for lovingly taking us in today. We had such an amazing set of site visits, and before that we also were visiting with the King Lunalilo Trust, as well as a Napua Lunalilo Ma'ili Kitchen. Now, going back to here at Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Center, it wouldn't have been made possible without the many hands that made this day an amazing visit for our trustees and our staff. That includes the Elepaio group, which is Alicia Higa, Jesse Mikasobe Keali'i Noho Moku, Kenny Peresa, Nikki Hasegawa, Kaliko Chang, Auntie Nalani, Chef Kamoa, Chef Mark, and Waiʻanae High School Culinary Program. The mea'ai that you're enjoying today, it has been made possible through their loving hands and their generosity, and I think we can all attest that this food that we're enjoying is super ono. So we'll now continue on with our first item on the agenda, which is item 3, the status of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs activities. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up for testimony on this agenda item? Okay, mahalo. I'll now yield the floor to our CEO, Colin Kippen.
Aloha mai kako. I'm Colin Kippen, and I'm the interim CEO at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. It's really good for me to be here. My wife was an internist at the Kapolei Clinic of this facility for 9 years. And before she left us. And it's really good to be here to see you and to be part of this. Today I wanted to just briefly introduce Casey Brown, who is our Chief Operating Officer. Casey, come on up. Casey, I would like Casey to introduce all of our staff that are here tonight.
Mahalo, Colin. Mahalo, Kapuhana. Good to be here on the West Side. I'm Casey Brown, the Kaponui of Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Introducing the administrative staff here with us today in this meeting. So we have our Communications Director, Alice Silvanus. We have our Community Engagement Director and also serving as our Interim Director of Advocacy, Capson Poi. We have our IT staff, our systems engineers and administrators, Dave Kozuki, Kevin Chop, Kevin's over there. Our multimedia designer, Jason Lees, right behind the camera there. And of course, our beneficiary services agent, Kaima Molstein, right there at the front holding it down. Mahalo kapoana kauikava, back to you.
All right. Our hearts go out to all of the people who have been affected by the West Maui fires. And the Office of Hawaiian Affairs has been involved, perhaps not as a first responder, but as a second and a third responder. And what I'd like to now do is to pass this mic on to our chair to talk about some of the activities that she was involved with right after the fires occurred.
Mahalo, Colin. It is a sad day in Maui, and we so appreciate all the help that people are giving us statewide, global-wide. There's so much help pouring in, so much aloha. But what I want to report is we were very grateful on Maui to receive a nonprofit from the mainland called Global Empowerment Mission. And this GEM came out of Ukraine. They had been helping them so desperately to house their people as their buildings were bombed and they were becoming houseless. They came to Maui and somehow they got my name and they came to our office at OHA and offered their help for all the people of Maui. And their help was housing assistance. This housing assistance was in partnership with Airbnb. And I thought, gee, that sounds like a good idea, and how people can use that help. So I said, okay, we'll partner with you. And all they asked is for our referrals because we knew our local people. So he brought his crew over from the mainland, and we housed them at the OHA office in Maui. Within the first day, and he said, let's do a dry run, Hulu. And I said, okay, let's see how many people we can get in here, how many people we can process. The first day, we got 135 Hawaiians. Hawaiians because that's who I could call so fast to get them in to the office. 135 Hawaiians, and we gave out $500,000 worth of housing vouchers and $50,000 worth of gift cards in one day. In 5 days, he gave out over $2 million of housing vouchers. And I mean, that is a blessing. That's a blessing for our people of Maui. So they are still going. It's still active, but not as active as that first week. So that is something that we are very happy to have participated in. Also, I came home one day from Honolulu to Maui, and I sat next to this man, a total stranger. He ended up to be the owner of the Grand Waiʻanae Hotel and the Ritz-Carlton in Maui. And I was sharing with him that, we're going to have a concert to fundraise monies for our people. And he said, if I can do anything at all to help you, let me know. But plenty of people say that. Plenty of people say, let me know how I can help. But, they never come forward. So I left the airplane, and then I got a text from him. He said, I meant what I said on the airplane. Okay, thank you very much. Next morning I woke up, same thing on my cell phone. I meant what I said yesterday. So I went to a meeting of this concert that we're going to have to raise funds for our people. They didn't have a venue. So I finally said, maybe I should try this man that offered his help. I called him and he said, I'm more than happy to give you the ballroom complimentary. And it was a $30,000 worth of help that he gave right instantly. And I thought, what a blessing. These are blessings. Because how would I have sat next to this stranger and got this kind of blessing for our people? So our people do feel blessed with all that we've been receiving. And there's more.
Yes, OHA has been in discussions to see how we can help in the short term, the midterm, and the long term, because we realize as Office of Hawaiian Affairs that it's when the dust settles, when a lot of the initial kokua is slowly drawn back, that's where we need to be present for our people, and that includes things like mental health, things, basic needs, and we can look at things that follow in line with our strategic plan, which is housing, education, economic stability, health. So one of the other things that we at OHA are doing in collaboration with the Office of the Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke, as well as with the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, and with the kokua of the Makana o Keakua, OHA is providing a 30,000 plus storage facility, which is located on our Haku'one Kaka'ako property. And it's what we're calling the Maui Relief Storage Facility. So it's a coordinated management donation center. So we have different drives that are happening around the island, shipments that are coming from out of state. And this is a place where these donations are being housed. They're being organized and inventory. So when the need arises, the kahea comes in, and these items then reach the shores of Maui to help our people there. So I think I'll hand this now over to Colin, and we have something that we wanted to share, video. Yeah. Yes, we'd like to show you a short video on some of the work that we've been working on regarding the relief efforts. The use of this 30,000 plus square foot warehouse for Maui relief efforts aligns with OHA's plan that improves the quality of life for Native Hawaiians and our local community.
There's a coordinated effort with MOCA, with OHA, with CNHA, with different freight companies, with different shipping companies. These are the goods you see behind me that are going to be going out to Maui.
We have been struggling to find a space as large as this to take in all the aloha, to take in all the generosity. And now what you are seeing here in this 35,000 square foot space is an area to sort, area to organize, area to inventory, to make sure that the goods are given to the people of Maui in an orderly way.
We're all shocked and saddened and stunned, and it's like aloha to the 10th power right now. We've just partnered with some good friends, CNHA and MOCA, to allow the housing of the much-needed donations for the island of Maui.
We at OHA are honored to collaborate with the Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke and the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement to provide this space during this time of crisis.
This is a perfect space. You know, the fact that OHA and CNHA came together to utilize this space, it's just so amazing. This is what Aloha is all about. This is what people of Hawaii does. And, you know, I can't just thank enough of so many people who are here. They came out of the woodworks just volunteering. We're going to need a lot more support. I'm just so grateful for the OHA trustees and CNHA for acting so quickly to take care of the needs of Maui.
So just to give you folks is just a quick time frame of what we were working with. So the kahea came to us from the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. The keys was handed over the very next day, and on the third day is when we had the press conference, which is what you saw there on the screen to share with our people on what OHA is doing. So this is one of the many special things about Hawaii is we care for one another, and in times of crisis, in the spirit of aloha, we pull together, and we pull together our strengths and our resources to work in Lokahi. Colin?
The other thing that the trustees have done is they've made a commitment, a first commitment to fund $5 million. But the issue that they found when they have gone to the island and they've talked to the Hawaiian leaders is that they want to steer the canoe. And so OHA is in the canoe, but we're not steering. And we're in the process of listening to what the community wants. And actually, they formed an internal committee to be able to discuss these things. And this is going to be coming to our board on this Thursday, where we're going to discuss how to do this. Again, the idea is that they need so much, but they want to be able to tell us what they need and when they need it. So we're listening to them and we're following. Chair, that's my report. Thank you.
Mahalo, Colin. Our next item on the agenda is our community presentations. Our first presenter is King Lunalilo Trust, Napua Lunalilo Maili Kitchen. And we have presenting is Auntie Tammy Smith, the director of the kitchens, Napua Lunalilo, and Keola Maikalani Dean, and CEO of King Lunalilo Trust. And before we continue, Lehua, do we have any testifiers on this item? None? All right. Auntie Tammy, Keola, please go ahead.
I'm short, that's why. Thank you. Aloha kako. I'm Keola Maikalani Dean, CEO of the King Lunalilo Trust, and with me today.
Aloha, Tammy Smith, Directors of Kitchen for Lunalilo. Mahalo.
And we wanted to just share with you a little bit about what we're working on. And we were able to host you at our kitchen at Maili earlier today. And we really appreciate your coming to visit and see what we've started. And for the rest of the people who are here, we wanted to just share a little bit about that. So we have rented a certified kitchen in Maili at the Ulu Ke Kukui space, and we are pushing out kupuna meals on 2 days a week, so it's about 700 meals right now a week, and we're looking for really to serve the community and to provide healthy meals that are local style meals to kupuna. And I'll talk a little bit more about the medically tailored project, but I wanted Auntie Tammy to talk about the meals more and share with you, key facts about what we're doing. Auntie Tammy?
So, aloha. We were able to share with you earlier today about what is important for meals. And we started with haloa, and we gave homage to that, to who and how we can identify with ourselves as Kanaka. And if we can eat food from our aina and serve that to our kupuna who so deserve the best from us, that is the King's will. The King's will is for us to service our people. And so we are here, and mahalo to this coastline for allowing us to serve, allowing us to be here to just start and it's 700 meals is a little bit of meals. We haven't even, and we're only doing this twice a week. We would like to be at 3,000 meals 5 days a week. But we also know we need partnerships and we need help, and we would like to involve the community even more. So we're learning, we're doing as best as we can at this moment. We are surrounded by great people, we are surrounded by great leaders in this community, and with open arms that accepted us to come in and to do this work, and the work of a king. We are not just here as nobody. We are a trust, and this is what we're supposed to be doing as staff for Lunalilo Home. This is what the will said, is to continue his legacy and to make sure we take care of kupuna and our people. We're not excluding anybody else. We want to make sure that we can take care of all people, right? But we need to start with ourselves And when we start with ourselves, we start with haloa, we give all of haloa to our people, and then we can move forward. And with that being said, we have volunteers already, we are serving our Hawaiian communities, and like I said, we can do so much more. The need is great, right? The need is really great out here. And for us is to do our best, to give our best. And I want this to be every day, because the need is great. I mean, it's hard to say you can have and you cannot have, right? Because we limited with funding, we limited with, resources at the moment, but we're working on that so that we can not have a waiting list and that we can feed all people. So just mahalo for this time, and then, we have so much more to do as Luna Lilo Home, because with food come resources. With resources come more need. So there's a bigger plan for us to be out here, and so that we can malama our community out here and do our best. So mahalo.
And so this is the beginning. And when I came to the helm of King Lunalilo Trust a year and about 4 months ago, it took us a little while to determine our strategic direction. We, definitely followed the King's will, the language in his will, his direction to us. And then now, this is our first foray out of Mauna Lua, beyond Hawaii Kai, where our trustees back in the 1920s put us after, they decided that we needed to move away from Makiki, which is the location of the first Lunalilo home. So this is our first foray beyond Mauna Lua, but it is not our last. We come out here with open arms to listen and to understand the needs. And one of the needs that we've heard besides just meals and food, one of the needs amongst kupuna is connection, and being able to connect with each other as well as with other generations, other people in the community. And so that is part of our long-term strategy, is to provide ways that we can connect with our kupuna and connect multifaceted ways with our kupuna. So one of the projects that we're working on is a sustainability model for our kitchen, where we believe that medically tailored meals covered by MedQuest might be a good solution to help provide more food to kupuna and making sure that it's funded properly. Another project that we're working on is expanding home care agencies, expanding into the home care agency space so that we can provide home care services into kupuna's homes. We understand that there are many areas of the state that are not served by home care agencies, and so those are the areas that we really want to focus on as the King Lunalilo Trust and as a Native Hawaiian organization. We are also looking at expanding more adult daycare programs. Again, the closest adult daycare on the west side is over in Ko'olina, and we're looking to expand here into adult daycare programming as well, and very much tied to the kitchen. And finally, we are looking to build affordable kupuna housing, and that is a long-term project, but we're looking to build campuses across the state in partnership with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, and providing housing. But really, it's about providing, again, connection, making sure that kupuna have a safe space to live, but also making sure that those places in which they live are picos of the community. And, back in the 1920s, the trustees moved our kupuna out to Mauna Lua, and it lost its sense of center. We managed to reconnect with the communities by having all kinds of activities. Before COVID, we had, it was so busy with communities coming in to perform hula and mele and kanikapila that the kupuna got tired. Like literally at the end of every night, they just go to sleep, which is a good thing. But then COVID ended that, right? We all went into isolation, and that really affected kupuna. And the studies are coming out now showing that dementia has skyrocketed because of the isolation. So it is what's really important here is to build the connections and work to keep them alive and make sure that our kupuna are where they should be, which is at the center of our communities. So that's our entire purpose, and that is, you know, in complete alignment with the King's mission. So thank you, Chair and Trustees. We're happy to take any questions.
It's not really a question, Keola. I just wanted to say that I was very interested when I was invited. Trustee Kalea Kaka and I were invited to come here to take a look at the affordable housing effort. But we started at that facility in Mo'iliili. I'm very interested in that, and I'm very happy to hear that there's something going on, and when I learned that they were planning for 10, I have invited them. Both Kalea and I have received some materials, so we're gonna bring it to the board. And part of why it's a good thing is because we need to put some partnerships together with our office and LT, and we really need to facilitate housing for our kupuna. I'm so pleased that the HHL also, and I see an emerging partnership. OHA no longer has a housing division, but when I see what you folks are doing, I'm convinced we don't need it. What we need to do is infuse support and capital, but I very much would like to see the 10 kupuna units go up. Let's do it. I think we can do it.
And I also want to acknowledge our trustee at large, Keone Souza, and Auntie Tabby and Keola for making that site visit possible, and Rochelle Kim, his staff. Do you folks have any more questions? I also wanted to introduce our trustee for Molokai and Lanai, Luana Alapa.
Aloha, everyone. Mahalo nui. Kalamaia'u. I had an incredible day of travel from Arizona to here, back to Molokai, hop on the next flight, which is the same flight I just arrived on, and back on that flight to get back here, and then to drive through traffic to be here. So I finally made it. Phew. Crazy. I mean, the whole gang knows I've been texting them all. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'm gonna get on that flight, and I don't know if I'll get back on the connecting flight in Molokai. So thank God it was the same airplane that I was on that I was able to connect back with. So I'm here. Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to coming out here to Waiʻanae and to meet everyone. This is our first time, I believe, right, Kale? And so happy to be here and to hear from you folks. And I'm sorry I missed part of the program, but I was back there, even though I was eating, because I was hungry. I never ate all day long since 5 o'clock this morning when I caught the plane from Arizona, and then delay. And so I'm sorry I missed your guys' thing, but kalamai, because anything you need, we're going to be here for you guys, okay? Oh, okay, and then also my staff, I have Pohai, Ryan is back there, and Kailahi is back there. Thank you guys. They've been holding down the fort for me. So thanks, ladies, and they're giving me all the information and so forth, so I don't miss anything. So once again, looking forward to hearing from the rest of you this evening. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Trustee Luana. And before we continue, we understand that we now have a testifier for the same agenda item, Lynette Cruz. Mahalo, Keola. Mahalo, Auntie Tammy.
Aloha, and welcome to Waiʻanae. I'm Lynette Cruz. I live in Waiʻanae. I wanted to speak about this program that these two lovely people just described. I'm representing tonight the Waiʻanae Moku Kupuna Council, and there's a table back there with kupuna. Over there. Yeah. We have been supporting this program before it even started. So our job, lucky we never get dementia yet, our job is to help deliver, to help identify kupuna in the community who need meals and to deliver for them. So absolutely, we support this program. We'd like to see it get some funding, give them money, and help them because they're helping us. And I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Mahalo for that wonderful testimony. Up next, we have presenting is our Department of Hawaiian Homelands Chairman, Kali Watson. Lehua, do we have any testifiers on this agenda item? Okay, mahalo. Welcoming our sister agency representative, Kali Watson.
Good evening. Let's see. I believe I have a PowerPoint. There we go. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you folks for inviting me here tonight to share what we're doing at the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. There's a lot going on at the department. As most of you know, recently the legislature passed Act 279, which provided about $600 million for the program. This is a very, very important situation or opportunity for us. As most of you know, when the act was first passed, with the help of Prince Kuhio, the program didn't really have very good lands as well as money to push the program forward. And as a result, over the last over 100 years, it's been, I would say, very, very disappointing as to the number of leases that were awarded, roughly maybe about 100 each year. So with this money, we hope to do a lot better than the 10,000 that we currently have. So with this money, it allows us not only to leverage the funds, but more importantly, also look for, which we are in the process of acquiring additional lands throughout the state, as well as possibly looking at opportunities to work with the different trusts, the Li'i Trust, including OHA. So just to kind of run through some of the projects that we're doing. Yeah, on Oahu, we have about 5 different projects that are spread out from Maili all the way to Ewa Beach. I think the more recent one that was in the news was our groundbreaking involving Kaulu Okahai. This, I think, is a real tremendous opportunity, not only because of the location. It's surrounded by 4 other homesteading communities, but it's also in a very ideal location next to UH West Oahu, next to the TOD station that's now in operation. We have, Kamakani Ali'i. We also have the DHHL's administrative office, as well as just a whole area that is, we also have the Kroc Center. And so there's a variety of projects that we're moving forward. This particular one, because of the, I guess the expertise that I bring to the table as a developer for the last 20 years, I noticed that the department in their moving forward was doing it very, very piecemeal. In fact, the more recent award was just for the construction for that yellow piece or parcel. And so what I did was we combined all 4 parcels, both C, D, E, and F, whereby we're going to generate over 548 new homes. And so the idea there, again, is to do it all in not only the infrastructure, but also the vertical construction. And we're using not only our Act 279 monies, but also funds from the legislature in the form of CIP. So this is kind of a new approach. The green parcel on the bottom, we're looking to do multi-units as well as townhouses. We'd like to work with the different organizations to kind of increase the models that are being generated rather than just 3, 4-bedroom homes. And so also on the blue parcel adjacent to Parkway, we're looking to do maybe mixed use, where we have commercial on the bottom and housing on top. And so this is kind of I think a very great opportunity where we put out an RFQ or request for qualifications. We identified 3 developers. We choose the first one, make sure he fits what we're trying to do, and then moving forward. So we had a groundbreaking on that, and so we, we're fortunate to at least get it started. The other parcel next to Kapolei High School is a parcel that used to belong to HHFTC. We acquired it using Act 279 funds. So we're going to put in 60 single-family residential with phase 2 of Kaupea. And this particular project, we're going to use the LIHTC, or low-income housing tax credit, rent-to-own, whereby we address the people on the lower half of the wait list that are more income challenged. And so with this one, they don't have to pre-qualify for a $450,000 loan. All they got to do is, based on their income, they become a recipient and a tenant. Then after 15 years, they become the owner, and they just pay the remaining outstanding debt, which is what we did in a whole Lima Lima project previously that was converted. The families basically moved in without having to pre-qualify. Because historically, the department has bypassed a lot of people. They send out a request and go through the wait list, and they ask the people to pre-qualify. You got to qualify for a loan. And only then do you get to, get a house. And so that has resulted in a lot of people being bypassed. So we're trying to change that, and we are changing that. So this is one example where we do a LIHTC rent-to-own, and then all the equity that is generated from the sale of the tax credits goes to the homeowner. So that's resulted in some major, equity being generated by this approach. Also in Maili, the old Voice of America site, we're going to do about 250 to 340 units. If you notice kind of the ulu kekukui in the top left corner, that is already in existence. We're converting that from 80 units to 40 unit rental project for people on the wait list. This is kind of like a pilot project for us. We're working with Lilo Homes. They have the certified kitchen there, and hopefully they can move forward with their daycare center in some of the offices adjacent, where they can service hopefully maybe 40 kupuna. So that we're also working with CNHA and OHA. I'm hoping we'll also take an office there, and various other service entities, Hawaiian Community Assets. So it'd be kind of like a multi-service center where people that are renting and are coming off the wait list can be better prepared for home ownership. So it's kind of a process. As soon as they get prepared, they can then move into a homestead, and then we move in other people off the wait list to also go through this transitional housing. This is another piece of property we got from the feds. We're going to do roughly about 600 acres. This one is nice. It's by Eva Beach Golf Course, close to the ocean, great location. So it's just a matter of getting it done and creating more homesteads for, I guess, with respect to our wait list, the majority of them are on this island. So we do have these kind of projects that will really be helpful in getting that wait list down. This is kind of a new concept. Again, because of our limited resources regarding land, one of the things that we're trying to do is better use the limited lands that we have. So one way to do that is to build up. And so this is going to be the first time we've ever done a high-rise condo. This is about 23 stories, whereby we'll have a variety of studios as well as townhouses, primarily 2 bedrooms. So we're kind of excited about this one in that, again, it's Stanford Carr is the developer. He has a very good track record, and we're excited about having this built. Then one of the other things we're trying to tweak this is whereby we're going to try and provide an undivided homestead lease regarding the land. So even though the financing requires a certain process over a 15-year period regarding compliance, by issuing a homestead lease for the ground portion to the occupant, they can then not only receive the equity generated in this particular unit or condominium unit, they can also pass it on to their successors. So that's something we're working on. The financing might preclude us from doing that, but we're still going to try and see if we can get this done. And if so, then we'd probably use the same approach for some of our multi-units, townhouses, as well as mid-rises. So this is kind of the first time. There's something else that we're kind of looking at is, we really want to focus on kupuna housing. We have about 10 different sites that we'd like to partner with Lunulilo Homes. But one of the things as a developer, which has always been a challenge, is you can build kupuna housing, but it's very, very expensive to provide the services. And so typically that's why a lot of people don't build kupuna housing. Well, the solution to that is to locate the housing close to an existing medical facility, like the Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Center, this. And so they have all the services as well as health care, as well as various programs that can be available so that the person can age in place. But in addition to that, what we'd like to do is also build another tower involving student housing as well as faculty and workforce housing, so that not only can the students assist the kupuna, but also get their degrees, get their licenses in a geriatric field that I think there's a tremendous need, and to me personally is really conducive relative to the Hawaiian culture. So there's something where I think it's a great fit. And then with Waiʻanae Comp being this, and all of this is DHHL lands, with Waiʻanae Comp also expanding there, and I'm sure they're going to go into this later tonight, but the idea of sustainability and growing food, processing, warehousing, as well as in distribution is something that they will focus on. So just a collection of different activities I think really makes sense for this development. In Kauai, we have a couple of projects, one in Anahola and another one in Hanapepe. The Hanapepe, this was kind of crazy because I remember over 20 years ago working on phase 1, and that was over 20 years ago. And I remember we were doing a habitat house, we were building it, and I was working with some Hawaiian families from Ni'ihau. And so one of the things I learned from it is that the houses we were building were too small. So we quickly made an adjustment to satisfy the kind of clientele we were serving. But the thing about this one is through that $600 million, we were able to get into phase 2. And so that, again, this one was just awarded regarding the construction of the infrastructure. So we're going to go out and award the vertical construction and make that kind of consolidated, and then making the 82 residential houses available a lot quicker. So that was a recent dedication. And there's another thing that we're getting into is creating what we call kuleana subsistence ag lots. And these are smaller lots. But I think with the reality of commercial development in farming, it's very difficult to be competitive and viable. So one of the things we're trying to do is create subsistence ag lots. They're smaller lots, but they're more conducive to families growing and supporting themselves, as well as the neighbors. And so this one, we're breaking it up, and we're going to do about 115 Kuleana subsistence ag lots. This has no potable water, so it's unlikely that, unlike some other lots, they can put their house. This one is just probably for ag development. On the Big Island, we got some major projects also going on from Honolulu, as well as Lalamilo and the villages of Laiopua and Kaumana. And this one, water is a real challenging thing in development. And so if you don't have water, you can't do development. So one of the things that we are now doing in using part of CIP funds is developing our own well sites. In this case, the well and water generated from this development will provide water for our villages 1 and 2, involving about 400 units. And then on this one, we're using the LIHTC rent-to-own on quite a few of the units. Just last week, we made an award of 24 units of a LIHTC rent-to-own. Again, it's a situation where the family is kind of a low income, can't really qualify for a large mortgage, so they do a LIHTC approach with an option to purchase, where it's based on their income, they can move in, they have a restricted rent, lower rent that they would typically pay in the market, but they use that and use that to eventually satisfy not only the 15-year requirement, but also convert, and then they get a homestead lease. I'm trying to change that presently by allowing them to get a homestead lease once the house is completed, and that would be for just the ground, the homestead lease, whereby they again don't have to wait 15 years to do the conversion, and by doing that way, they again avoid the problem where they have a successor that's only 25%. And that's been a problem throughout, not only on our waiting list, but also people that receive leases. So this one, we're going to focus in on the rent-to-own and get those going, which we're doing. So this is the award we did. That's the best part of the job when we're doing awards. And so there's one family that benefit from that. And the houses were already finished, it's just a matter of moving in. So this one is, again, using the bigger and larger approach with developers. Villages 1 and 2 involve 400 units, and then Village 4, the yellow portion, the infrastructure is pretty much done. So we're going to combine for a total of 525 and get those out pretty quick. And similarly, with the LIHTC situation, what we're going to do is just pretty much award undivided interest awards of homesteads up front. So we don't wait till the construction is completed to make the awards, because that'd be horrible if in the year and a half that it's under construction, the recipient suddenly dies and without a lease. So instead of doing that, we'll issue the lease up front, and then as the units get completed, they make a selection. And so that is one thing that we're doing that we hope to kind of avoid some of that situation, like the Kalima case. This is a good example. The state had to pay like $328 million to people on the wait list. And even the wait list, about a third of those individuals have already passed away. So when we talk about emergency proclamation, and I know there's some concerns about that, I think personally that for Native Hawaiians, there is an emergency, and we should be given the ability to move forward in a quicker pace, carefully. Obviously, we still do Chapter 343, and we've got an environmental, make sure our archaeological sites and EV are protected, but at the same time, procurement, selection of vendors and all that, we should be allowed to move forward quickly. So that's something that we're going to try and capitalize on in our development. So this is Panieva. This one is a subsistence ag lot, or we made awards of 16 or 15 half-acre lots. And again, the idea there is to award a subsistence ag lot that a person can grow things, as well as, because it's a farm lot, they also can have animals, but of a size that really makes sense. So for half an acre, all the way up to 3 acres, we're going to do this approach and make awards where people can grow and sustain themselves, as well as have animals. And so we're finding that this has been a very popular approach, and it also makes more sense. So this is kind of a new approach, but I think it'll work. Because when you compare it to, say, like Molokai, where we originally, when the program started way back in the 1920s, they used to do 40-acre lots. And if you go there today, you see, kupuna in a small house, and then maybe half the yard mowed. All the rest is just growing wild, and it's really a maintenance problem. So that we want to avoid. Again, Honomu, we're looking to do more subsistence ag lots in this phase where we'll do about 16.5 acres, then also some more about 61-acre lots. Again, subsistence, a great location. This was really a site acquisition. In Kaumana, we were able to acquire some additional lands to add to our inventory. In Waimea, Lalamilo, we've had a problem with the military and their unexploded ordinances, so we needed to clean up and assure the recipients that the area is safe. So over there, we're going to do about, in the green area, about 151 residential. The blue area represents houses that are already built. For Maui, we've been very active over there. There's the Honokawai water well development, Waiʻehu Mauka, all the way to Keokeo, Waiahuli. A lot of potential projects. This is kind of a new one where, well, not new, we've used this approach. When I was a director, we did this approach where we acquired non-DHHL lands, and by putting in our inventory, it already becomes entitled. So we don't have to go through all the rezoning and costly process of getting it changed. So this one, we kind of used the sale of affordable housing credits to help purchase the land, as well as we used some of the CIP funding, as well as Act 279. This is the first project we used, Act 279, which made this a reality. And so on this one, we're doing about 161 units. And on this one, this is a good example where we don't want to bypass anybody on the waiting list. So what we did on this one, we set aside so many lots for Habitat for Humanity. So we're going to do maybe 20, and then also lots for finished lots for owner builders, because we have some people on the wait list that figure, hey, I got the skill set and friends who can build it. So we'll give them a couple years to get it done with a deadline, and then also certain standards so it meets the community standards. Then what we also are doing is, again, the LIHTC rent-to-own. So we're requiring developers to use this approach, use a variety of approaches that make sense. And then we also have the regular turnkey, and then with Act 279, we can subsidize some of the costs of these mortgages for the turnkey so that we can qualify more people coming off our wait list. So the net result is when we go to the wait list, they'll have these 5 different categories. We'll fit you into one that makes sense based on your economic situation, and thereby not bypass anybody. So that's the idea. Use this, require the developers to use this approach. So this particular developer was unfamiliar with LIHTC rent-to-own, and so I said, well, if you want the project, you got to learn it. So they brought in a developer that does know how to do it, and so they'll have all the different models available. So that was the groundbreaking. I have to give credit to some of the legislators, Keith Agaran, Troy Hashimoto, the lieutenant governor, and Tasha Kama, who's head of the housing on Maui, a very, very strong supporter and a homesteader of our program. So she's been very active in helping us move along. She, for the first time, a city council or county council has actually set aside money for our program. So they actually dedicate 20% of their GET taxes to DHHL infrastructure. So that was the first time. I'd have to say the City and County of Honolulu also has done that recently this year, providing us with $20 million, again, for infrastructure. So we're starting to, as people see that we were serious about development and that we have the capacity to do it, are starting to step up and work with us and partner with us and to make things happen. So this is an additional project, about 207 units, right above the one that I just showed you. And then this is another one, it's actually phase 5 of our Waiʻanae Ko existing homestead. And this one is going to result in over 400 units. And then in Lahaina, as we all know, a lot of bad things happen. But there was one thing that really stood out, is our Le'alii homestead. Of the 104 houses, and that's right adjacent, only 2 burned down. All the rest survived, with some roof damage in some cases, but they survived. And you know, it was really amazing that that happened. And when we investigated, we found that the reason why that happened was the type of building materials we used. We used cementous board, hardy planks, as well as fire-resistant asphalt shingle. And we also had garages enclosed. So as a result of that, you know, we were able to, the majority of the families were able, their homes were able to withstand this fire. So moving forward, we're going to require that houses be built like that, and they also have garages. So in this one, there's about 250. You know, I do have to reach out to the community and the leaders over there, because we're talking about over 1,000 new houses in Maui. Now, I don't want to feel like they're being just overwhelmed by all this development. I think it's important that we go at a pace where, and we also get the community input, because that's very, very important. But we also have to, you know, address the 4,000 on our waiting list over there. So, you know, it is part of the, prior to the fires, something that our commission had already authorized under our strategic plan, which was required, which identified these projects as well as allowed us to add the 2 other projects. And so, you know, the fire may have changed that. Water is now may be an issue, and that's why we're putting in a water well. But you know, we want to do it at a pace that is not overwhelming. But I do see this as an opportunity to you know, provide construction jobs. We have about 700 homesteaders there. Another area we're looking at is what we call accessory dwelling units, where a homesteader can put a, you know, accessory dwelling unit on their lot, and they can rent it to a Native Hawaiian family. And so they can either do it as a standalone, an attachment, or partitioning their upstairs from the downstairs and adding a separate entry. So that's something that we're going to try and assist the homesteaders that are interested in doing that with not only funding, contractors. We're trying to emphasize Native Hawaiian contractors, give them the jobs, and so create work for them. So that's very important, that we not only provide affordable housing for those that need them, but also the employment opportunities for our workers and contractors out there that are Native Hawaiian. So this is the same project. Then this one, again, subsistence ag lots. We're going to do about 50 of those. I think this one about 2 acres. On the light yellow is some residential. The red is an industrial park. So this master plan, such that we're doing more than just you know, homesteading. And we're going to do some commercial on that. Then this one is Keokeo, Waiahuli, and Kula. The red portion is already done. Phase 2A and 2B, those, we got close to $40 million in CIP funds, so we're going to proceed with that, but we're also going to include a developer to do the vertical construction. So this, again, is it's very challenging, but I think the fact that the legislature has stepped up and provided us a lot of funding is a good sign, and we hope to continue that, working with the legislature. Now this one, I put this up partly since I'm here in front of OHA. I thought, well, you know what, let me plant some seeds with you guys. And so this particular project has 3 parcels, one that's owned by Weinberg, one by Gentry, and one by Bob Mills. And we're in the process of acquiring it. And so this one is already entitled. So one of the things that I was thinking that OHA might want to consider is getting into housing themselves, acquiring some lands on their own rather than relying on DHHL, especially land that's already entitled. So you don't have to rely on our, making the lands entitled. It's already entitled. So if you acquire the lands, and on that blue one you could do about 300, the orange is about 200. So you have a project involving about 500 units. So if we were to join forces, we do the development, you guys have the control of the fee, you can decide what you want to do with it. There may be some legal issues regarding making that available to the less than 50% Hawaiians, but I would say think outside the box and go for it. You maybe push for some legislation in Congress that might help facilitate and protect you, but why not do it now? And so when you talk about getting into affordable housing, I think it's about time that you also use your funds to acquire lands, as well as you can access the same money I access, the tax credits, the bonds. You guys have your own bonding authority. You can issue loans. There's a whole bunch of things that your beneficiaries would be entitled to. I'm restricted to the 50%ers, but we all know there's a lot of people less than that. And so how do we service them? That's where maybe you guys can, in thinking outside the box, work with us, and I invite you to consider that. This is another one that, again, trying to plant seeds here. This particular project is also entitled. It involves housing, and it also has an entitled area where you can put up a hotel. And so when, that, again, is something that you could get a developer to do both. With respect to the hotel, you guys have your bonding authority, but under Chapter 10, you also have the authority to exempt yourselves from taxation, both state, county, and municipal. Not federal, but when you take that into account, as well as maybe finance the whole hotel using your bonding capacity, you not only create a revenue stream, but you create jobs, as well as opportunity for maybe workforce, Native Hawaiians that live right adjacent to it. There's a commitment schools right up the street, and a lot of other amenities besides this beautiful golf course right adjacent. So that also is entitled already. So again, I'm just throwing out things for you guys to think about. Getting into the hotel business would be great. On Molokai, we have a couple of projects. Again, part of the problem with the large lots that are kind of unusable. So we're breaking those up and issuing smaller lots, ag lots. So these are examples of these 40-acre lots that we're breaking up and issuing out more, getting more people off the wait list, the ag wait list. And then this is another agricultural subdivision we're doing in Molokai. We set aside the funding to move this one forward. Then a couple, community buildings. Did a Veterans Center, which is being shared by the Veterans Affairs as well as Homesteads. The Lanakeha Center. And also we restoring the Kalaneoli Hall. Now this one is on Lanai. We have some land over there. It's a little bit challenging. We've already built some of the houses already, the dark yellow. So the light yellow are the houses we anticipate building. But right adjacent is county property. So again, in thinking about partnering and making the project more exciting and attractive to developers, we're going to suggest combining the development with them so that the unit count gets higher, and more importantly, the price per unit goes down, which would benefit our homesteaders. And then the other thing I wanted to kind of throw out there is, the Li'i Trust and OHA. This, like I said, is an opportunity for all the different Li'i Trusts, including OHA, to start to work together. And when you think about like Kamehameha Schools, that's a $15.2 billion trust that has over 364,000 acres throughout the state. And they have lands that we could easily develop with them. We're actually looking at some sites, not only on this island in Waiʻanae as well as Hawaii Kai, but again, it's an opportunity to work together and maybe use some of our entitlements to get their lands sort of rezoned and usable pretty quick, rather than going through the rezoning process. And then you also have Queens. They're a health center created at Queen Emma and King Kamehameha IV. They provide services to Native Hawaiians, health services. So there again, we have some sites we'd be more than happy to make available for their expansion. With respect to Liliuokalani Trust, that's close to $1 billion trust, and they have over 6,000 acres, which some of them are in good locations, in some cases adjacent to our lands. So there again is an opportunity for us to work with them and get some projects going. I know they're looking at maybe doing housing for single moms with kids, and so like the property we have right across from the Kroc Center would be ideal for multi-unit rental for single moms. So we're going to approach them and consider, I know they were trying to sell me some land in Kapolei, but I'd rather them sell it, use the proceeds to put in some facilities to service those that are living in the housing that we'll build. So again, it's opportunities. King Lulililo Trust, Keola, I think is a great leader and somebody we want to work with. So we've identified about 10 sites. We have some nahas of money that we can throw into the mix. I'm hoping OHA will step up, put some money in that we can collectively leverage, go after tax credits, go after the rental housing revolving fund, as well as use bonds to finance those kind of developments. So there's just a variety of things that if we can work together, I think we can make a lot of good things happen. Thank you.
Mahalo nui for that most thorough of presentations. Let's see. Do you folks have any questions?
Aloha, Kali. Good to see you again, bro. Thank you so much for coming on.
Sure.
I like your approach and providing different options for our people instead of telling them no. This may work for you, that may work for you. And so we're trying to work with our people. And I like that you touched on the different trusts. Of course, Keola them back there, Kamehameha. We all have connections within these organizations that we need to come together and work together. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Sure.
Aloha, Kali.
Aloha.
When you're coming back, Molokai, we sure could use your help. As you may know, kupuna care is at a #1 priority on our island, and naturally the expenses are huge to maintain such a facility. Is there any possibility in which a kupuna care home could be arranged or somehow that it could be connected to the local hospital that we have there?
Well, we actually looked at Molokai. There's some land, I think there's 10 acres right behind Kulanoivi, the multi-service center that we put together a while back with all the different service entities. And so we'd be more than happy to make the land available. We'd also be more than happy to contribute at least $5 million to the development, as well as commit to providing rental subsidies for the tenants. And I think with that, and assuming OHA puts in $5 million, you know, that this, I'd say maybe $30 million project would easily be doable. And
That is amazing. I know there's another development coming up that I think it was near the airport. Sorry. When is that anticipated to begin breaking ground?
The airport?
Yeah, I think it's closer to that. I forgot the name. It slipped my tongue. But it's,
Naiva. That's
it.
Yeah, that's ag.
Oh, ag.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with the 40 acres that I now realize what you said, that they're able to break, you're going to start breaking it up. When does that begin?
It's already happening. And then we're also going to make, like in the past, the department used to assist people with the large acreage that want to subdivide and give it to their kids. Was stopped, so we're going to resurrect that approach, where we'll help facilitate families that want to, subdivide their lots so that they can give it to their kids.
That would be amazing. Also, as far as the many of our farmers aren't able to farm their ag lands because the lack of funds financially, especially for the fences that they need to surround their property, including ours. And when is the next opportunity for the grants to be available?
Yeah, well, we have a Native Hawaiian Rehab Fund, and the idea is to, when we make out these awards for the subsistence ag lots, part of the deal is if you receive some counseling and training from the OHA people, we'll give you $5,000 to help buy your equipment and what have you, so that not only are you knowledgeable about the process, but you have the equipment to move forward. And this is for the subsistence type ag.
That's terrific. Thank you so much. I know there's a ton of questions, but I don't want to take up people's time because I know we have so much people here that want to testify, but thank you once again.
Sure.
Thanks for the presentation, Kali. Excellent work. I think when you were talking about Lalamilo, you had talked about talking with the United States about cleaning up.
Right.
I just wanted to hear what it is. We've got things like Puhakuloa, and with rain, the radioactivity is coming down on my island.
Yeah.
When I looked at Makua Valley's history, all the bombs missed Makua, went over the ridge to Pahe'ehe'e, Hawaiian homelands. You know, I've got a whole list of these things, and I'm just wondering if you have begun some kind of discussion with the U.S. military. Are you pursuing something? I'm prevailing on our board to proceed to the federal district court to get the court's assistance, because we've got significant toxicity from U.S. military.
Right.
The only island that is all ceded lands, Kaho'olawi, is gone. We never cleaned them up in the first case. Now, I'm just wondering, you know, what's happening with Lalamilo, and is there any kind of meaningful discussion with the U.S. military?
We're just about finished with the discussion, working with the Army as well as the Department of Health. So we anticipate getting approval that, and basically that the lands are safe to proceed, probably before the end of the year. So we're going to start construction. Lalamilo, a lot of the infrastructure is already in, so it's really we just got to touch it up and then start the vertical construction. So I want to get that going as soon as possible.
So you did not have a residue from bombing and
No,
what we have?
We inspected it, and it's safe. And then the other thing is, one of the problems that generated was FHA wouldn't provide loans. So my feeling, as long as we feel comfortable that the land is safe, we will inspect it and we'll assist in making sure that it is. Even if the FHA is going to hesitate, we need to start using our own funds and not rely on federal funds or loans to move our developments and homesteaders and homes. So we have about $40 million in funds that we could use to provide direct loans.
Okay. I just had one other thing. When you were talking about Bolodrome, I've been following. You said that there was something that might preclude the financing?
No, that particular project is financed by tax credits,
right,
as well as bonds, as well as rental housing revolving fund. And so because of the tax credits, because it's this equity that's generated from the sale of that tax credits, which pay for about 40 to 50% of the cost of construction, basically it's free money. They require that it be rented to people of a certain income, low income. You can't exceed it. And so you have to have that and follow that for 15 years. They require long-term commitment.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is separate the financing from the land and give homesteaders a lease.
Without
so
the
that they
15 years wait. you
Without
mentioned.
the 15 years
Got it.
wait. Right, exactly.
There's 9 trustees on my board. Only 5 is here.
Mhm.
So I know my colleagues will agree when I invite you to come to our board, many proposals I think here are presented that would be excellent for some collaboration. And as you know, OHA has not really been too much involved in things like housing. So I hope that you will come when we have the full board, and let's maybe take a deeper dive and look at some of these things we can collaborate on. Good
Well,
job.
I'll come to the board with specific projects. How's that?
Bring them on.
And,
Make sure you have the sheets.
and now I'll be towing Kaleo with me. And so we'll have specific projects for you guys to consider. Like I said, we got about 10 sites that we want to do kupuna housing. I do have some ideas on commercial development, and especially with your ability to exempt yourselves from taxation at the state, county, and municipal. That's a huge, huge benefit, as well as your bonding authority. You could do some really nice developments, commercial developments with that.
You already got 2 votes out of 9 of the kupuna housing, so
Okay.
we'll work on the rest.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mahalo. So just to give you folks a little background on how we came to meet at this location, a little more than a few months ago, my team and I came to talk story with our friends here at the Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Health Center. And we talked about the great things that come from us as a board visiting our neighbor islands, and when we make ourselves available to our island communities to be able to stay on the pulse, needs and concerns, and hearing what we're doing that is working for our communities, as we have our board meetings usually during the work days, during work hours, and we realize that not everybody is always available to come speak or share their mana'o. So with that in mind, the idea was that as your Oahu trustee, I thought, oh, we need that for our Oahu community, and we need to target our Hawaiian homestead areas. So that's how we're here this evening, and at that meeting when we were talking, was Representative Cedric Gates, who has joined us this evening as well. And we have a representative for the office of Maile Shimabukuro, as well as Darius Kila, he was there as well. And we also have members of the Nanakuli Maili Neighborhood Board as well. Mahalo, Samantha. So now I want to bring on the Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Health Center, Landon Moasau, Dr. Stephen Bradley, and Dr. Kyle Kaliko Chang. And before they go on, Lehua, do we have anyone to testify on this agenda item? Okay, mahalo.
Test. Hello, everyone. I promise I will be very quick because I know everyone, it's been a long day. Mahalo OHA for being here. My name is Landon Moasau. I'm the Provider Relations Director. But today I just wanted to talk about the importance of PIVA, joining Western and traditional healing. Now, I know you guys hear a lot of sirens going on outside. You guys watch the news. But I'm here to give you good news, what we're doing here on the mountain at Mailiili. Thank you. Thank you. So just a little bit about us here at Waiʻanae Comp. A lot of people think Waiʻanae Comp only give medical services. We do more than that. We do everything and anything. We're never bored up here. We're always working. But Waiʻanae Comp, we actually started here, you know, from Kahe Point all the way to Kepuhi Point. This was all plantation. And plantation, we only had one doctor from this whole coast. When the plantations ended in the 40s and the 50s, so did the physicians. They left. Now, we didn't have any physicians or healthcare services for over 40, 40 years. And it wasn't until a few good individuals, their descendants are sitting in the room here today too. It wasn't until a few of their descendants had really taken a stand and said, we need something over here. Because even though the plantations left, the people stayed. And the people live all across from Maka. I'm born and raised in Makaha. My family's been living there forever and ever. They will live there. But we needed something for our people. And so in 1972, you see the picture there, the plantations were there. But in 1972, people like Auntie Aggie Cope, they made a stand and said, we need something. And so we made this place here, the Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Health Center. We currently sit here on the Department of Hawaiian Homelands and DLNR. The center began with 6 employees and 1 provider and 5 support staff. If you could look clearly right there, you're probably gonna miss me. I'm somewhere in the picture there. But we started 6 strong. By 1974, 33 strong. Recently, we just celebrated our 50th birthday of serving the West Coast. Last year in 2022. Today, we've grown to more than 650 employees, more than 120 providers. We went from 1 to 120 giving quality care. We also serve more than 33,000 patients. 40% of our staff are Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander heritage, and we're very proud of that. We not only give, but we also empower our people. Yeah? We're the largest FQHC center here in Hawaii. We sit on 17 acres of land. I know DHH was just before me. So this is 17 acres. You see we're growing staff, growing enlargement, but we need more land. So DHH, if you need land to give it to Waiʻanae Comp. We have 5 primary care satellite clinics. We have 4 school-based health centers, and we provide just a range of services from mental health, adult medicine, vision, pharmacy, wellness and outreach programs, social services. We have a Native Hawaiian healing center with practitioners, and then we also have a 24-hour emergency room. And this is the population we serve. We serve all of West Oahu. Before it was 967, 92, but you know, as you grow, we said we need to expand. So now we're in Waipahu. So if you go to Philcom, we have a clinic there. If you go to Evo Beach, we have behavioral health services there. Kapolei, Nanakuli, all the way up to Macau, we touch those parts. And not only that, we start to infuse a community in the schools. We're also in Waiʻanae High School. We're also from the high schools all the way to the elementaries. We want to be with the people. And where do you go, where are the people at? That's where Waiʻanae Comp is going to go. In the schools, even Tomorrow's. If you live here on the west side, everybody shop at Tomorrow's. Waiʻanae Comp is in Tomorrow's. We have a pharmacy there. So go ahead and stop by and say hi. They're probably going to give you a Waiʻanae Comp pen. We're the largest nonprofit organization in Hawaii and one of the largest employers in the west side. Yes, the west side. Even more than Aulani. But don't tell them that. We have more than just a bunch of quick facts. This is the biggest fact that I want to bring up. 60% of our patients are Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, and I think that deserves a clap. We serve 60%. That's more than half of our patient clientele. 69% of our patients are below the poverty level. More than 180 visits average per year, all on 120 providers. And then 58%, they are covered by Medicare and Quest. one of the biggest things is responding to social determinants of health. So here, I think we do a really good job at mastering that we can't solve everything in the exam room. We have to go beyond that. And I think we have a really good handle on that. We have to speak to the finances. People need houses, people need food, people need jobs, people need education. And we have all that here. Did you know we have a medical school here? Yeah, we do have a medical school here. We have residency programs here. We train people, we teach people, we do all of these things, but I think not much people know about it. So I would like to take this time to say we do a lot of things here. People come up here hungry. Alicia and the El Payo Social Services, we give food. And even though COVID stopped, our problems never stop. So Waiʻanae Comp continues, we continue to grow, we continue to find other ways on how to connect with the people, yeah? And as you can see here, we also do a good approach at speaking to our people in a hybrid way. We meet face to face, but we also do telemedicine as well. And this is our last slide. It's really important to have both sides. You have a Native Hawaiian Healing Center and you have a traditional side. Without this relationship, I don't think this place would exist. And I applaud the Waiʻanae Comp. I applaud everyone here who works day in and day out, especially when the COVID was hit. We stayed, and I tip my hat to them because we really do a good job at serving people with aloha, and that's here. I truly believe that we just celebrated our 50th anniversary. Waiʻanae Comp will be here for another 50 years if you allow us to do so, and that's due to this pewa. Mahalo.
Trustees, any mana'o questions? No? Okay. All right, well, just another, what do we have another person from Waiʻanae? Oh, that's right. Kaliko, you wanted to. Oh, yes, please, Dr. Stephen Bradley.
Aloha, everyone. Thanks so much for gracing us with your presence this evening. It's special to have you all out here. I'm Dr. Stephen Bradley. I'm the Chief Medical Officer here at the Waiʻanae Comp. I've been here for 30 years now. So I've watched the comp grow, and really it's incredible the things that have been accomplished out here, and certainly not my doing, it's the community's doing. It's funny when you mention neighbor islands, sometimes Waiʻanae thinks of itself as a neighbor island. We're out here with Farrington Highway, and things can get interesting. As you said, the traffic is notable. And Colin, I just wanted to say, we all still have Deborah in our hearts. She was just an incredible provider, incredible individual who served the community while she was trying to deal with her own issues, and I will never forget that. So just wanted to mention that. What Landon was talking about, it was just in general of what we do, but you know, we have 3 pillars of our mission statement. One is to provide affordable, accessible, top-rate medical care to a community that truly needs it. We're not talking about the worried well. We're talking about people that really need us. The second one is innovation, and you don't think of Waiʻanae as innovation, but we really do. We're on cutting edge of so many things in IT and in processes that help both the patients to access what we do and also to serve them, and also to help providers do the best that they can. But the one that often is not considered and we don't talk about is education. I've been the doc for the Waiʻanae football team here for 27 years, and you know, talking to high school kids all the time, and they all know what they could do. They all knew what they can become. They've got that down. The one thing that's always missing is how. And that is a big point. You can tell anyone you can be president of the United States, but how? How do I do that? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I do? This is what we really feel in our hearts is the next step for Waiʻanae Comp. So we want to grow our own, and we want to create a pipeline. We want to take kids from elementary school and say, hey, go to high school, study, and when you're in high school, and if you want to do something in the healthcare field, this is how you do it. You go to college, and when you go to college, we'll hold your hand and show you what you do there. Once you get out of there, we have resources at any level, medicine, dentistry, etc., where you can go and we'll tell you exactly how to do it, what you have to do, and when you get out, we want to take you on. We want you to serve your community. So that's a really important point. That's the ultimate, is make a pipeline, because it's all disjointed right now. And so we have a lot of things that we're doing. We have this, was talked about before, the A.T. Still School of Osteopathic Medicine. We have graduated from this center 90 physicians so far, and we have another 10 that will be graduating this year. That's a lot of doctors that we've graduated. And it's an amazing institution. It's an institution that teaches, that gives the degree of osteopath, not MD. Osteopaths are incredible because osteopaths do everything that MDs do, but they also learn hands-on. They learn manipulation. They learn flows of energy. They learn a lot of other things. So they're like, to me, they're doctors plus, and we're able to produce these great healers from here. The next one that I want to talk about is psychology. Now, we talked about behavioral health and the great needs of behavioral health all over. We are the top producer of postgraduate education for psychologists in the state. We were taking them from Argosy before they closed, but now we have an agreement with Chaminade and with the university and others. And we have practicums for the students while they're still in classes. We have the internship after they do, which they need to do before they get licensed. And once they are licensed, we even take a certain number of a year as fellows to basically look at what they're interested in and specialize and perfect their arts. And what really is the overall thing here on Waiʻanae, and what Landon was talking about with PEVA, and the thing that just fascinates me and that I just love, is the connection between allopathic medicine and Hawaiian healing and culture. Everything we do here is culture-based. It's culturally competent. And everyone says that our students, no matter which field they're in, when they get out of our programs, they're amazed at how competent they are in dealing with people, in relating to people, not only the technical, but actually that emotional connection, which is, when you think about it, that's the basis of any healing. So psychology is a big point, and we're expanding that right now. We are sending some people here and there, but we're really trying to serve the purposes of mental health, which is really lacking in the state. We also have our nurse practitioner residency program. This is a nationally accredited program that started it started in 2015. Wow, it's even more than I thought. This was a program, we started to realize that nurse practitioners were necessary in the healthcare field because there weren't enough doctors. In fact, every year I talk with Kelly Withy at AHEC and the workforce program, and it's 800 providers are missing. We don't have enough primary care providers for the needs of our people. The APRNs, the nurse practitioners, really do help to fill in that gap. They are extremely knowledgeable, but the one thing that happened, what I realized, is that when they came out of incredible, having incredible knowledge of medicine, etc., they came to Waiʻanae and they were just bowled over. It's like, oh, we never studied all these problems all together. And they burned out, poor things. I mean, they came out here and said, I just can't do this. So it came to our minds to base ourselves on a program that was already existent on the east coast of the mainland in Connecticut, to develop a residency like you have in medicine, where docs graduate from medical school, they go into a residency to hone their skills. We now have that for nurse practitioners, and it's incredibly useful and valuable. And we hire a great number, if not all up to now, of the nurse practitioners that we produce, because they're such high quality and such wonderful providers. So this is an incredible program that we will be expanding as time goes on. And right now we are sending, we are associating with our community health center sister program in Molokai, and we'll be sending nurse practitioners to them to help them see more patients and treat the patients. That's it. So yeah, we're really proud of that and really looking forward to having that go. So the Bachelor of Nursing, we have a number, again, we're not just talking about educating physicians or psychologists or nurses, but the Bachelor of Nursing program in Hilo, we help them get their credits, get their clinical skills. So that's something we're doing a long time. Bobby Elisala is a Master of Nursing APRN. She is now our educational coordinator for all our programs, because we realized we had so many things going on. We needed someone at the top that just coordinated all the activities. Because you can imagine, everyone needs a mentor, everyone needs a preceptor, everyone needs a room with a patient. There's a lot of mouths to feed, so to speak, intellectually, so we have to get that going. And so she's really helping with that. Doctor of Nursing program, they do come out, same thing, get a lot of knowledge, get a lot of experience, and again, culturally competent experience, which is really what we're experts in dealing with. Now, there are medical residents from JABSOM and from the Hawaii Island Medical Residency come out here to do programs. The one thing that we have with the Hilo residency coming out, we've been able to help them with dermatology, a couple of other things, but the thing that strikes them is their rotation with Hawaiian healing. That has kept them going, that has really interested them. And we have had providers come back and start practicing with us just based on the fact of our connection with Hawaiian healing. They are just in love with that and they understand the concept. And Kaliko Chang will talk a little bit about what he does with them, which is some fascinating programs. And we were lucky enough to get one of their graduates, Devin Hazama, that you see in the picture, and he did a fellowship in geriatrics. And so he now takes on medical fellows to learn geriatrics. And I think if you read the papers, you understand geriatrics is one of those fields that we really need people. There's the graying of America all over, so really important. Another thing we do is we have dentistry here. We have a dental facility. But we realize that you have to start young. You really have to start with the keiki. And especially, we don't have fluoride here for a number of reasons, but that does, if you're not careful, it can be more, kids can be more prone, depending on their diet and their habits, to cavities and bad oral hygiene. We have pediatric dental residents come out here for 2 years from New York, and I just have to say that the current head of our dental department is a graduate of this program. So she came here from elsewhere and said she had to stay. And she stayed and now is directing this program. And it's now reaching the end of a major renovation here. So we'll have more tables for the more operatories for patients, and obviously state of the art, which is very important to us. We don't accept facilities that aren't at the maximum, that are so-so facilities. That was a theory in the very beginning when we set this place up, and Auntie Aggie and others, and said, we are not going, just because it's a disadvantaged community, we're not going to have shabby facilities. We have to have the best that we can afford and put up. And we've lived by that for 50 years. So other programs, we have a lot of other things. Medical, you know, we talk about doctors, nurses, etc. One of the biggest gaps we have in healthcare today are medical assistants. You can't find medical assistants. Why? Because it's really tough. It's a tough job. It's a lot of responsibility. And sometimes they can make as much money being a greeter at the aulani to being a medical assistant. And that's just reality. But we find people that have the heart. They really have the aloha to do this, and we train them. We also train pharmacy interns. We have 4 pharmacies connected with our centers. And so we want to train the future pharmacists, and they also help with other projects. Things having to do with hypertension, with anticoagulation, etc. So they're able to do all of that. And social work is incredible. As you all know, social workers are the key. They are the voice of the people to the establishment. Just having a social worker in this emergency room that you see down here has made an incredible difference. It took us a while to realize that, but once we did, and we stationed a social worker, it's been like night and day. It really has made a difference. So we want to train these folks up. And there's a lot of different programs all going on. I'm not gonna hound it. I think I've covered most of them. But the benefits are many, but I just wanted to mention one other thing about social workers. We've been approached by HPU for licensed clinical social workers. There are no facilities in this state that train the licensed clinical social workers after they finish their academics. And they need something like 3,000 hours of experience before they can get their full license and practice. And we're going to be involved in helping them do that. So we're taking them on as well. So obviously the benefits are enormous. I mean, I think they're self-evident. When you can take someone from elementary school and say, you can be, and then take them by the hand and show them how to be, I think that's going to make an enormous difference for the future. And I'm looking forward to that. Education is essential in that. Of course, the barriers are the time and pressures on our providers and their productivity, because they have to see patients. We need access. We have a lot of patients needing care. We have to get them in. We do a lot of things already with telehealth. We have, we mentioned Tamura's, where we have the pharmacy. We also have a kiosk there, where you can walk into that kiosk and be seen by one of our urgent care providers right there. But it goes beyond just a TV screen and a microphone. We have tools there called Tidal Care that at a distance, I as a provider here and they there, I can listen to their heart, listen to their lungs, look in their mouth, look in their ear through this Bluetooth equipment. It's absolutely astounding. So I can do a very good visit at a distance, and we have that in our kiosks. So just to say, there are so many choices and so many opportunities for access that we're trying to do, because it's useless to have a wonderful, beautiful center if people can't get in and can't be seen for their needs. So our goals, I'm not going to go over, but you can imagine our goals of education are just what I was saying. It's to basically have an idea of what we want to offer people, give them a roadmap, and then take them along the road to get to where they need to be. And that's basically it. So there's only one thing I want to say. There's one project that wasn't up on my slide, and that's happening as we speak. As I told you before, we've graduated over 90 physicians from the medical school. Why are they not staying? We've had 3 or 4 stay here. We've had a few go to UH in their programs, hospitals, etc. But a drop in the bucket when you talk about 800 going up to 1,200 or more physicians lacking in our communities. It's because of the residency programs. After you finish medical school, you have to do a residency in something of your choice. We here promote primary care. So that's our thing, to get primary care physicians. But if your only opportunity is a residency in California, 90% of residents will stay where they finish their residency program. So we lose them. They've gained all this knowledge. They've treated our patients. Our patients love them. They do manipulations. This morning I had my patients having manipulations done by my students. They really love it. But what we are doing right now is we are developing a family medicine residency of our own. We are putting in an application. We got a $500,000 grant from HRSA to develop this, and we're well along the road with talking with Queens and other people for our clinical rotations to actually set up a residency. We're hoping to have it going by 2025, maybe slip to 2026, because there's a lot to be done. But I just want to express that may change things. We're going to start with 3 residents, but we want to expand that to 6. And what we'd love to do is expand the whole idea so that we have 6 residents here, but maybe Waimanalo has 2 residents of their own, maybe Molokai has a couple of residents, etc. That's how we're going to get people in primary care into the areas where they're the most needed. And so we're working on that project, and we'll let you know how that's going, because we may need some help with that. It's going to be difficult and costly, because there's a lot has to be done when you have a residency. But I think for the state of Hawaii, this is a brand new idea where it's focused on primary care, family medicine, and we're going to do it. We've done everything else. We're going to do this one next. Aloha. Thank you very much.
Mahalo.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bradley. Aloha, I'm Kaio Kaliko Chang. I've been working here for 31 years, first as a social worker and then a provider at behavioral health. We helped to develop and implement behavioral health in the early 90s. Now we're able to develop this cultural program, Ha'olamau. And the best way to demonstrate Ha'olamau is if everyone can stand up. I know we've been sitting for a long time. So just get our energy moving. So Ha'olamau is a cultural program. Ha, of course, is breath. Mau, ha'ola is life and mau is continuous. So the breathing is important. I know we've been sitting for a long time. So we're gonna hanu for 5 seconds, hold, and breathe out through your mouth for 5 seconds. Okay, so hanu in through your nose, 1, 2, 3. Hold, and ha. Okay, so the first time we breathe, we're gonna connect to Keokua, our creator. Second time we breathe to Honua. And the third time we breathe in and out, we're going to connect to one another, our ohana, and our loved ones. And so, hanu, one. And hold, connect to keakua. And ha, out through your mouth. Okay. Hanu, second time, connect to honua. And hold, let that mana build. And ha. Last time, connect with one another here, your ohana and your loved ones. Hanu. And hold. And ha. Okay, my kai. You guys can sit. Where did I put it? It's in my pocket, huh? Okay. Okay, here's the slide. So ha'olamau, I'm just going to share what ha'olamau is. We developed this, the Hawaiian Healing Kupuna Council developed this in mind to preserve, perpetuate, and practice Native Hawaiian traditions. So that includes Hawaiian healing and Hawaiian cultural practices and values. And so to promote and inspire health and well-being for our staff, for our students, and our community, including our patients, and also visitors who come all over from Oahu, the neighbor islands, and from around the world. And so we share this. We are a medical center, but we look at health in a different way that we can look back to traditions. And if you look back to your traditions, to practice them. And so these are some of the things that we share in our program. So ku'ikalo, mahiai planting, kapa, and hulu. Those are the main three. Traditional Native Hawaiian healing practices. So these are, Dr. Bradley talked about the training programs that we have. And so all of the students, they come every month and we share about traditional Native Hawaiian healing and cultural practices. And so on the left side is a slide sharing about la'aulapa'au, the medicinal plants, first identifying and some of the uses. And then on the right side is Waiʻanae High School and some other providers from Hilo, medical residents, sharing about lomi lomi. Traditional cultural practices includes our papakalo. And in the papakalo, we just blessed our pohako kuiai 2 weeks ago, and that's a picture on the left side. So we gather here in the community, bring it back, and Iolani and Auntie Joyce share how to kalai, to carve. And on the right side is our kapa. Last year we made kahili ku, and so we made the kapa for the pa'u. That took a long time, but we learned a lot from the lani. And also we have Eva and Andy with the feathers, and so they reached out to all of the employees here at the health center and had the employees help to make the feather picks. Here's a picture of Ulana Lauhala, our papa Ulana Lauhala, and we have our puhala tree up on the hill. And so Mahina and Cheryl takes them to first identify the puhala and how to gather, come back and prepare, cut. And on the right side, we were able to make lauhala items. This past Saturday, we got together, the Papa Ulana Lauhala, and we made doorstops with the brick. And that was our learning and a give back to the Hawaiian Civic Club, the Waiʻanae Civic Club. So we made about 17 doorstops, and it's for them for their fundraiser next month. Part of the training of staff and students includes all of the cultural practices. And especially when they first come here, if they're new to the community, we give them a tour from Nanakuli, and that's a picture of the Kalani Ho'akaha Community Learning Center, where the two wells are. From there, we go all the way down to Ka'ena. And then along the way, we meet Kupuna, so we saw Kamaki over here, and they share their mo'olelo, their ike, to the students. On the right side, on the top, they are our psychology interns, and that was taken last week on their last day. And so they went into the ocean and then jumped off the rock there. We had their unikis. So last week we had the psychology intern uniki, their graduation. And so when they first start, they gather their kukui nut, and they learn how to make oil so that they can print their kihe at the very end. This past summer, we started Ho'olu Namamo, and this is a youth group from all the high schools here, Nanakuli, Waiʻanae, and Kamaile Academy. And so we had students to inspire them to grow and it's for the next generation. And so we shared the same curriculum, the Hawaiian cultural practices, Hawaiian healing, and other cultural arts. So here on the very bottom, they were able to make their kahili pa'alima. And at first I was like, oh my God, can I make this? And some went home that night and finished all their feathers and brought it back and were able to make it. So they're amazed at being able to accomplish those things. And on the very top, of course, they're pointing up that one day they're gonna reach their full potential. And this is our, oops. Oh, and this last slide. So we share with the students and our community hula as exercise, and also the ko'oko'o, using that to strengthen your body. So with the ko'oko'o, with lomia'e, we learned that you can strengthen your body, reinvigorate your body, and align yourself. So those are some things that we share in our programs. And that's it. So this is ha'olamau, and the breathing that we did, the breathing in and out 3 times, was shared by our kopuna. And that is a treatment that you go to the ocean and you breathe in and hold and breathe out to build your lung capacity and to build your health. So we share that ha'olamau and mahalo.
Trustees, are there any mana'o or questions you may have?
This is for all you guys on this side. How is the education funded for the students? Because there's lack of money and so forth. So sometimes that will deter them from continuing on because of lack of money. And how do you support that or supplement that?
So far, we support it from a number of things. There are certain institutions like our AT Still School that actually do fund it. So they understand the value, and so they put money up to do that. Others is grants. We have a lot of grants that do that. So we work closely with Papa'ololokahi in trying to use for training. They have certain scholarships and grants available, and that's basically it. We do what we always do. We piecemeal things together and just make it happen. So there's no one hard and fast rule. We just we decide to do it first, and then we figure out how to do it after. That's basically the way it is.
So do the students apply for scholarships, grants?
They, in a certain sense, in certain fields, and especially in the professional health fields, yes. They can apply for scholarships from the National Health Service Corps, and they can do it 2 ways. Either apply for a scholarship and then owe time to an underserved area after they finish, or they can finish with whatever loans they've accrued and then stay with a community health center for either 3 to 6 years to get those loans forgiven. So that is a big point. It's big for doctors, nurses, dentists, and those folks. It's not always for the support staff. That is a little bit trickier, but again, grants help us do that.
Wonderful. Do you reach out also to our island of Molokai obviously is in dire need of medical services in all fields.
Yep.
Everything you've mentioned, we are lacking. Is there any way in which you are focusing attention on Molokai for these specific fields by sending your resident or whoever to come to our island and to work with our people?
That's a great entree for me because we have an association called AHARO. It started just as, it's aharo.net, not .com. And it's an association of community health centers, like community health centers. We serve basically the same population, selections, etc. And right now that is ourselves, Waimanalo, Molokai, Hamakua, and Hana. So Hana is involved. So we are all together. My idea and our idea, both in medical, nursing, and other things, is that as we perfect things here, because we're the largest, we can try things out, perfect them. We are then going to diffuse the operations. We're then going to say to Molokai, okay, let's make you an outpost so we can have you be teaching doctors, nurses, support staff, and Hamakua the same, and Hana the same. So we don't want this to be Waiʻanae centric. We want this to diffuse out to people that I recognize are even more needed than we are.
I'm so glad to hear that. I mean, I just thought that although Waiʻanae and everyone here on the coast so deserving of the programs, but so do us guys on Molokai, the other outside areas, we need their support and help.
That's
as
the
well.
wonderful cultural, is that once we're able to do something, we want to share it. And we really think about that ahead of time. We say, okay, we're going to do this. And the second breath is, okay, how do we spread this to other communities? We do that with everything.
Yes, all right, mahalo.
Okay, mahalo nui. Next on our agenda item, is Elepaio Social Services with Alicia Higa and Jesse Mika Sobe Keli'i Nohomoku. Before they present, Lehua, do we have any testifiers on this agenda item? No? Okay, mahalo. Before they speak as well, I just want to make it known that Alicia and the team here at WCCHC has been amazing in setting this location up as well as our site visits. I saw on the news of the mobile clinic, and when we were previously here touring the different sites here and the Native Hawaiian Health Healing Center, I thought that was really impressive, and every ask that we made, that was made possible. So I want to mahalo nui for that and for the wonderful talk story sessions we had in our last meeting, and with my uncle Gerard Akaka's work here, and with time with my my beloved grandfather, U.S. Senator Akaka. It was nice to see the photos up on the wall as we were seeing how that peva symbol, where we're bridging our historic past here to the brilliant future that we have going forward. Mahalo.
Absolutely.
Oh, and one other thing I want to say, I saw that our representative Darius Kila is here, right over there.
Sorry, I don't want to take Elepaio's time, but aloha everybody, and first of all, welcome to the Waiʻanae Coast Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I know that you folks know how historic this meeting is, and I'm sure it was communicated that this is the first time the Office of Hawaiian Affairs has come into the Waiʻanae Coast. Yeah. I mean, not the first time, but to hold a meeting like this in formality. Firstly, Chair, I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the island of Maui and the work that will need to be done. And I think I speak for myself, Representative Gates and Senator Shimabukuro, from West Oahu to West Maui. Please count us in for the long haul. An elevator speech in the sense, when I got elected and the Office of Hawaiian Affairs came to our info briefing, I had made the ask that we collaborate. And even prior to assuming office, Trustee Akaka had made the connections here. So I want you to know that this was a year in the making to get them out here. But for them to come here has solidified their stake in their words. So I want you folks to know that they kept their promise to come here. And I just want to extend my deep felt mahalo to you folks on that. So to the work that you folks have to do, all the trustees, your staff, I greatly appreciate you folks being here, because it takes our state agencies and the Office of Hawaiian Affairs to uplift this entire community. I cannot do it alone. Rep. Gates cannot, Senator, and you folks as well. So let this be a pivotal point of commitment of kuleana together, and as we holo more for future solutions. So mahalo so much for being here.
Mahalo, Darius. He's correct. We're stronger when we work together.
Sorry, Alicia.
No, he's stealing my thunder. Aloha, everyone. My name is Alicia Higa. I am the Interim Executive Director for Alapaio Social Services, and I just want to say how honored we are to share space with you and our community tonight. And thank you for making the long trek out to our coast and spending time with us today. I can say on behalf of our health center and Alapaio Social Services, we were so excited to get the call to have you guys join us out here. So mahalo for making the journey out here. Today we're going to be talking about the work that we've been doing through Alapaio Social Services. So just a little bit of background about Alapaio Social Services. We are a wholly owned nonprofit affiliate of the Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Health Center. During the height of the pandemic, our leaders had the foresight to start this nonprofit in response to the high food insecurity needs of our community. For us, it was important that we didn't just focus on food insecurity, but looked at nutrition security and making sure that good food was coming out to our community. So again, I'm Alicia Higa, born and raised out here in Makaha, proud graduate of Waiʻanae High School, and I have our newest staff.
Hello everyone, Jesse Mikosobe, Kelly Inomoku. Aloha.
So Jesse is also a proud graduate of Waiʻanae High School. So both of us, when we talk about growing leaders, we are from this community. And the Health Center, for myself, I've been here for 19 years, and the Health Center truly helped me to grow into the position that I am in today, to help be a voice for our community.
Also, Jesse was the one that handpicked this ulu that you're eating this evening.
And almost
from
went
this
to jail.
property right over here.
Oh, and Kenny.
Kenny as well. Mahalo.
They almost went to jail. The security takes our ulu very serious, and when they were in the trees, the
She's
cops
not
were
joking
called.
about that.
So I try to break it up into the different ways that we serve our community, and emergency feeding is probably our largest programs right now. We started keiki pantries in partnership with the Hawaii Food Bank back in 2018. We started with 4 pantries back then. Today, this school year, we will be in every single public and charter school on our coast. Thank you. At the end of the last school year, we averaged 2,400 keiki every single week across the 9 schools that we were serving. We provide them with healthy snacks, local produce, and shelf-stable food bags to go home, so that when they go home, and if there's not enough food, that they have things that are easy for them to make, but also healthy. This school year, we are estimating to serve about 3,400 kids every single week, with the addition of the new schools that we'll be serving. We also are operating 5 weekly kupuna pantries, 1 in each ahupua'a and also 1 in the Kapolei district. We're currently servicing 900 kupuna every week and working with many different businesses and schools out here to provide those healthy meals. Each week, we're providing 1,800 meals to our kupuna, in addition to about 2 to 4 pounds of local fresh produce from our farmers out here, and pantry items from the Hawaii Food Bank. Pre-pandemic, we used to do these large-scale food distributions with a drive-through, servicing anywhere between 1,800 to 2,000 households at every distribution. We've since transitioned, and we're working with our school pantry sites to operate ohana nights, and that's our new way of doing food distributions for the keiki in the schools and their households. And so we invite them to a community dinner, and we teach them how to take the shelf-stable foods from the food bank
and create recipes with fresh local produce to make a healthier meal that will stretch and feed more people. So we do a cooking demonstration. They get to eat the dinner of what we're doing the demo on, and then they get to take the food home. Simultaneously, we're also doing resource fairs to provide education around different programs that are in our community. We've also invited employers to offer job fairs for our community at these events. And the last one on this, if you were on the tour with us today or coming up the hill, you might have seen our pre-covery pod. This is the state's first pilot project for a pre-covery pod that Chad Buck, the owner of Hawaii Food Service Alliance, actually came up with in response to the, sorry if I offend anyone, the state's lack of planning around emergency preparedness, especially for our community. Prior to the pandemic, a study was done and it reported 38% of our community was food insecure. And we know that number has exponentially risen. So the state's plan to ask our community to store 10 to 14 days of food and water is just not gonna happen. And historically, when natural disasters hit our coast, we are closed off from all the resources. So this pre-covery pod was purchased by Chad Buck, and he actually filled it with 240,000 freeze-dried meals for deployment during natural disaster for our community. Additionally, we've stored 12,000 MRE meals and about 2,000 collapsible water bags also for deployment. Through our emergency feeding since 2020, we've done over 7.5 million pounds of food distributed to our community. And we could not have done that without the support of our community. My department, people doing food, actual food programming, we have 6 staff to do all of this work. So we really need the support and backing of our community. And I see so many faces in the audience of people who have spent hours of their time helping to do distributions for kupuna, for community. We've spent intentionally $2 million on supporting local produce. Again, another pathway towards food sovereignty for our community and putting the money right back into the farmers' pockets right where we live. Today, we've distributed over 980,000 meals since 2020, and we do that with intention. When we get dollars, we're purchasing from local farmers. We're working with Waiʻanae High School Culinary Program to teach the kids how to use the food that's being grown right in our backyards. So our keiki, our growing food at Ma'o Ho'aina, then it goes to Waiʻanae High School Culinary, where the teenagers are getting to cook the food that's being grown, and then it goes out to kupuna. And so, thank you. So we want to make sure that, we know that dollars are hard to come by right now. We want to make sure that those dollars are making the biggest reach that they possibly can throughout our community. Another way that we work around with food for our community is the food access, food justice farmers markets that we started back in 2008. We're the first farmers market on the island of Oahu to take SNAP at a farmers market. Today we're operating 2 locations, one at the Waiʻanae Mall, one here, right here on campus at the Health Center. Like I said, we're the first to take SNAP, but we're also one of the first to do SNAP doubling in the state, even before it was a thing. We started that program on our own with small funding from HICO at the time. And today we're the largest SNAP doubling program at a farmer's market in a state. And we're the only ones to double SNAP on local proteins because we have ranchers out here and chicken farms and dairies who need the support just as much as our ag farmers. Our farmers markets serve as a redemption site for our food as medicine programs. We're the first farmers market in the state to accept WIC at a farmers market. And soon we'll be expanding back into Kapolei to provide those access points to our community in Kapolei. So far this year, we've already done over $240,000 of SNAP sales at our farmers markets, and we've doubled over 83,000 of that SNAP on local source food. Another way that we strive for food sovereignty and health in our community is through our food as medicine programs. So we started produce prescriptions. We were one of the first in the state back in 2017 to start a keiki produce prescription program. We've since expanded and are now servicing adults, pregnant women, parents of children 0 to 2 years old. We're providing them with $60 a month for 18 months, and we're tracking medical outcomes. So we're taking clinical measures every 3 months. and making sure that we can connect that positive health outcome to the good food that they're able to pick up at the farmers market directly from our local farmers. We also started a program for our Alice households. In our community, not everyone is qualifying for food stamps. And so our Alice households who don't qualify for food stamps and our patients at the health center are eligible for $250 a month for 6 months to purchase produce, poi, honey, local proteins directly from our farmers markets. If they're not able to come to the farmers market, they can do online ordering and get free delivery through the FarmLink Hawaii. The impact of these programs has been great. Our farmers have quadrupled their sales at our farmers markets as a result of these food as medicine programs. If you're not at the market by 10:30, our produce is pretty much sold out. But the way it works is our providers are able to refer patients to this program. We enroll, and we're taking different measurements that include measurements for food insecurity, the health-related quality of life, fruit and vegetable intake, A1C, blood pressure, BMI. All of this is tracked in their medical records. And then each month, the patient is able to receive a monthly benefit on an electronic card where they can shop at our farmers market for whatever they want from the farmers that they choose to shop with. We also provide educational resources and workshops to show people, not just giving access, but teaching what to do with the food that they're able to get at the farmers markets. As a result of all of these programs, we've seen quite a huge change in behavior and improved health, and we're hoping that we can use this data to really support the Medicaid 1115 waiver that's going through right now. So our state is actually working on a proposal for a waiver to pay for food as medicine, which would greatly help all the programs that we've been working on. Over $1.2 million so far has been directed to our farmers as a result of these food as medicine programs, and they have been decreasing healthcare costs and are additionally strengthening the food system at the same time. So this is a video that ties up everything I just said in a really nice 1-minute version.
I'm single, I'm a widow, I live alone. Every Saturday there's a farmer's market in Waiʻanae. I love seeing the community. The food subscription program allowed me to eat foods that would be much more costly. Papayas, bananas, mango. Oh, the poi, that's a native food from Kalo, and it's one of the most expensive items.
The Hawaii Food Bank received the Food Security Equity Impact Funds, and we decided to partner with Elepaio Services. They were totally willing and gave their clients the autonomy to go to the farmer's market and be able to pick their own fresh fruits and vegetables and poi and fresh local protein.
I have health issues and under doctor's care also. I do enjoy attending the Saturday farmers market. It's a win-win for the providers, for the farmers, the economy, myself, my family, knowing that there would always be constant support for healthy eating. I'm trying to make my body stronger now because I want to continue working in my garden and I want to continue going on hikes.
So the food subscription program was actually developed during the pandemic. And I talked about doing those large food distributions and serving all of these households. And to us, we were trying to choose the foods that we thought would be the healthiest for them in supporting our local farmers and buying poi and buying, fresh meats and vegetables and all these things. And in the end, we couldn't quite be sure that that was the food that our community wanted or had enough cold storage for. So the food subscription in providing the $250 a month to our community gave them autonomy to be able to shop directly from the food producers in our community and choose foods that were culturally relevant and made them feel good and healthy during a time when so many were scared during the pandemic and didn't, we had a lot of resistance for vaccinations and stuff, and that's not my place to say who should or shouldn't do that, right? But what we can do is work from the inside out and make sure that our community has the good food that they need to stay healthy during that time. We have really strong partnerships with the Hawaii Food Bank. And early on, we were very strict about what we would allow to come into our community. You know, so many times we have food distributions out here in the past that, you know, this blue juice and soda and chips and things would come out to our community. And for us, that's a disservice to our community. We're trying to fight for nutrition security and making our community feel better and thrive. And so these are ways that we've been working towards food sovereignty for our community, making sure that we're doing intentional spending, intentional programming. And then I'm going to pass it over to Jesse, because in addition to all of that, there's so much more that we're working on to support our path towards food sovereignty.
Hello, everyone. I want to mahalo OHA for coming all the way out from afar, because, you know, coming to Waiʻanae is a long drive. So mahalo, guys. Mahalo. I also want to acknowledge Waiʻanae. They really are the experts to all of the solutions that I'm about to present. We held these food summits back in the past, and we took some common themes that our community was continuously saying at these summits, and we wanted to put pen to paper and actually do the work that our community was saying. And what I'm about to present is a portion of that. So I'm going to speak about step towards community food sovereignty, or I like to call it food resiliency in its modern day context. And so happen these projects are the forum to carry that out. So to mention, a gleaning project was one of the common themes that came out of the food summits. We see a lot of waste within our community when it comes to food. You see people who grow fruit within their yard. You also see other folks who are also like the local farmers, like Ma'o, for example. They have these B products, the B grade products that doesn't make it to market, and these are opportunities to increase community food access to this product. So it reduces food waste, but also it addresses a problem, that we can utilize it. We just have to prepare it differently. So that gleaning project is ultimately going to be something that we see is going to carry and collectively transform things that see it from a different angle that people don't think could be a solution. Another which is really important subject or project is the Waiʻanae New project. So I was speaking to you folks about what CRB was, and coconut rhinoceros beetle is currently attacking our new. They're also attacking our endemic palms, our hala, and so forth. And these are important crops to indigenous peoples, and this is a food source. Other folks use it as a practice, and there's deep pilina between these male kanu that ultimately could be lost, because of a pest that so happened to have come within our community. So our ideology around this is to safeguard our Waiʻanae New, which have such deep history within Waiʻanae. Ko'ulunu Pokai Bay, I mentioned this famous ulunu grove that used to exist in the Pokai Bay, and it housed a lot of our coconut, our new. And within that coconut, within the new, within its functions, there's so much stories to be told, and we can't allow that to be withered away because of a pest. And that's also another opportunity to build relationship. When you tell on Kanaka the mo'olelo behind the story, they want to know more, and then they make it theirs. So we say that mo'olelo is an opportunity to build pilina to people, to food, and to place. So that mea kanu, that function, that form is new. We have another project going on, is the community food project. As I was mentioning when I first came in, is the community is the experts, Our community's voices must be heard, but they also must be carried out. So we listen to them very closely. A lot of the work that we do comes from them. So this community food project is allowing us and giving us the capacity to answer that, where we're able to organize efforts around that idea and go for it. So forth. Other ways to bring our community together towards food sovereignty is community wellness events. So we hear a lot of stories, the hoi kapiko, or return to the source. And what is that? But how do you get there? Yeah, you have to provide access. You have to provide the opportunity to get there. And not everybody has the kumu or the po'o to go to. So we ultimately see that to bring in practitioners, bring in people to connect them back to place, back to aina, back to food, and educate them about that importance and what it means to us. And last but not least, I was mentioning we need a home for all of this to happen, a home for people in our community to come to. And that's our proposed food campus that we took a walk around. And my interest here is being able to provide plant material to our community, because we're telling them to kanu, we're telling them to plant, but they need that access to that plant material, the access to the right stories, to the right kanu, and be able to integrate that within their lives, because not everybody has that extra funding to go and purchase it within the stores. When you look at native Hawaiian plants, it's super expensive, but it's so easy to grow. So why is that? And that's something that we're willing to answer to our nurseries. Another important thing is, you guys heard us saying that we almost got arrested earlier, but that's because, that's probably because the people are picking too much fruit and they're selling it. We encourage people to come pick fruit, but pick in an aspect to feed yourself and your ohana, not to feed and sell and make money off of it. But we encourage that. So this campus is going to have 8 acres of indigenous food and native Hawaiian agroforestry for our community to come in and access it, to learn from, to envision with us, to be happy with us, and so forth. We can't carry this ideology and this perspective and this Hawaiian world view without our community. Okay, last but not least, I just want to kind of end it. I wrote this down because it's hard to remember everything. But Native Hawaiian perspective emphasizes well-being, relationship, interconnectedness, and balance, body, mind, and spirit. It's important that we have a form, we have a practice for our community to carry it out and to be able to make it theirs, to make it a part of them, and that's why we call it our practice. So mahalo, aloha.
Mahalo nui, Alicia. Mahalo nui, Jesse. Do we, okay. Next on the agenda is our Waiʻanae Coast, Waiʻanae Economic Development Council with Joe Lapilio and Dan Gomes. Lehua, do we have any testifiers? Okay, mahalo.
Okay, aloha. Welcome to our community. Very much appreciate you being here. Especially appreciate you choosing the Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Health Center as the site for your meeting. I think as you've heard tonight, we have a lot of pride in this facility. We have a lot of pride in the work and the blood, sweat, and tears that went into making this facility, not only from the people who work in it now, but from our parents, our grandparents, and our great-grandparents that also worked to create this facility. And the lesson is that if you want to take a look at what community development looks like, this is it. And if you want to understand what it takes to make community, it's not a 1-year grant or a 2-year grant or sometimes even a 3-year grant. It's sustained effort and support for the community to do the things it needs to do to get things done. And this is a perfect example of what that is. The Waiʻanae Economic Development Council was formed from a series of community meetings that called for a greater emphasis on business and economic development in this community. It's a call for a business focus that really started in the 1990s. The Waiʻanae Economic Development Council's mission is to increase economic opportunities for Waiʻanae Coast residents by developing the community's natural, cultural, and human resources. And so we have spent the past 10 years working in that endeavor. Among that is our business development classes. We have a program called Ma'olipreneur. For many of the people in our community, many of us see business, we see commerce as alien to who we are. We see business development as something foreign that others have brought into our community. Our Ma'olipunor program has taken a look at Hawaiian legends and Hawaiian stories from hundreds of years ago that talk about the entrepreneurial spirit of Native Hawaiian people. And by connecting Native Hawaiians with those stories, with those lessons, we're able to get people to understand that entrepreneurial behavior is who we are. This is an example of entrepreneurial behavior among Native Hawaiians. As we taught people about business, we also found that an access to capital was a big issue for people, that although they wanted to set up a business or buy a home or improve their lives, the ability to get the money they needed to get that done was a huge barrier for Native Hawaiians. So we set up a program called the Pakini Loan Fund. And right now we're on the verge of submitting for certification to become a Native Community Development Financial Institution to be able to provide loans in this community, which we currently provide. We are hoping to get it by the end of 2023. Right now, we provide 3 types of loans. Number 1, small business loans. We can give you a loan from $1,000 up to $30,000, and if more, we can help arrange ways to get that done. We provide consumer loans for people who have personal needs that they need to take care of. And we have what we call bridge loans. There are many nonprofits in the community or businesses in the community who get contracts and have to wait for the money, but they still have to do the work. So our bridge loans allow these organizations to borrow money so they can do the work and then pay us back when they get paid. When we put together that program, we also found that there was a need for financial education. Many of us don't really have a good handle, myself included, on how to handle my personal finances. So again, using a cultural approach, we took a look at legends in our community from the past, and we looked at lo'ikalo and the care of a lo'ikalo as to how you can take care of your financial resources. And we provide education in the community to people to help them with that. This year, we're starting that program at Nanakuli High School so that we can get into the high schools and maybe work at being able to get to people younger and help them with their financial education when they're 18 or 16, not when they're 40 or 50, so that we can help them get the skills they need to be able to acquire what they want. COVID was a huge, I guess, it turned everything upside down, not just for us, but for everyone. And in this community, one of the things that became real clear with COVID was the lack of organized communication so that people could get what they needed to get support. So we put together newsletters and we've held community summits, but we learned a lot from COVID. So I'm going to, oh, by the way, my name is Joseph Lapilio. I'm the CEO at Waiʻanae Economic Development Council. I'm going to call up Dan Gomes. He can introduce himself and talk about what we're learning and what we know we need to do next. Dan?
You know, my name is Dan Gomes. I grew up here in this community. I graduated from Waiʻanae High School way before some of you were born. Now, I'm going to change my hat. I'm going to be a community advocate, okay, because I come with a background in technology development, you know, finding innovative ways to use that technology. And you know what's really interesting? The slides that, well, I really don't need the slides. We're talking about broadband, well, digital equity and inclusion and all that good stuff. And they're pretty much saying that if you're not connected to the internet, if you don't have an internet presence, essentially you don't exist. You're invisible. And you know, I never heard it put that way. But when I did, all of a sudden, all these light bulbs are going off in my head. You know, for people like us who use technology, who are comfortable using it, who have decent connectivity, we take a lot of stuff for granted. My concern is the 1/3 of our population who don't have reliable connectivity, or maybe they have no connectivity at all, or maybe they don't have the education to understand what you do once you're connected. So how do we know this? Well, we talk to the community. We hold summits and activities, and we go into the schools and we talk to the students. Quick story. During COVID, the schools deployed to students laptops. They said, here, take this home. You can do long distance remote learning. A lot of parents came back with the students and said, you got to change it. It doesn't work. They had no idea that you had to subscribe to some type of service. Okay? And that was essentially heartbreaking when you think about it. In today's age, with the world evolving at warp speed, if we're not at least keeping up with the rest of the world, we don't exist. You know, so what the University of Hawaii is doing to finance what they call middle mile connectivity is fantastic. It's great. You know what the Affordable Connectivity Plan provides to lower the cost of that connectivity is amazing. But when we started to look at what those programs actually provide, and it took a little while to do this, because when somebody throws up $150 million in your face and says, hey, we can help you solve some problems, it gets your attention. So, okay, everybody jumps on it, you submit the grants, you submit the proposals, and then you get rejected. It doesn't meet the guidelines of the program. Well, okay, we got to understand why. Well, there are specific limitations in those programs. And when we did the math and we worked everything out, the resident in a home in an underserved area will not see any benefit from those programs for somewhere between 5 to 8 years, and probably longer. It's the last mile connection that's expensive and time consuming, right? You have to go from that middle mile connection to a home. Well, we said, okay, now we understand it. What are we going to do about it? So we got a group of people together. We found the people with the expertise. We found the technology that, by the way, has been in Hawaii since probably 2016, 2017. It's operational. As a matter of fact, this facility has a portion of it, and we're migrating to expand the coverage that's available. So we're in the process of that migration now. Okay? If I told you that it would cost $3.5 million to light up the entire Waiʻanae coast, from Nanakuli to Makaha, $3.5 million. And we connect not just to your home, we connect to you, so that you can connect to a video meeting, a virtual Zoom meeting in your home, walk outside, get on a bus, stay connected while you rode all the way to Kapolei without dropping that connection. Now, is it the gold standard of a fiber optic connection? No. But it is 3 times better than what you have if you are an underserved resident or have no connectivity at all. Now think about that for a minute. You know, when you're in your home, you're connected to internet, you walk outside, you lose that because it's only good for 500 to 700 feet, maybe, depending on your equipment. Now you gotta go to cellular, which can get expensive if you don't have a good data plan, right? Now supposing you stay on the internet, I mean, you're connected as well as the community. So in case of a disaster, in case of things where everything goes down, you can drop a Starlink connection in fairly quickly. And in the overall scheme of things, it's relatively inexpensive because it gives you the capability to communicate with each other in a very critical time. So, you know, I'm a simple kind of guy. And I'm the guy in the corner going, hey, what are we doing? It doesn't make sense. We gotta fix it. So anyway, it may sound like a sales pitch, but I'm gonna say this. If somebody approaches you and say, hey, can you support this initiative? This is technology that was developed in Hawaii by people from Hawaii with international partners. And actually the technology is based on NASA. It's been modified, of course, to fit what we need. but it's pretty amazing. It's way better than what we have available today for the underserved population. So with that, I'm going to get off the stage. And
I just want to wrap up for Dan, but our goal is that every resident on the Waiʻanae Coast will have access to internet and know how to use it. And so we're working, that's one of our next big projects that we want to work on. So we know time is short, so we needed to wrap it as soon as possible, but I know you enough where you know how to reach me if you have questions. All right, thank you.
Mahalo nui. Our last presenter of the night is Nā Kamakai with Matt Cowan. And Lehua, do we have any testifiers on this item? Mahalo. And we have Maile De Soto here. So, mahalo.
Aloha, Chair and Trustees. My name is Maile De Soto, and I'm the eldest granddaughter of Frenchie De Soto. On behalf of Nā Kamakai and our founder, Dwayne De Soto, my cousin, we are proud to share about our organization with you today. The organization was born in Makaha, Oahu, but an impact is statewide. I would like to introduce to you our Chief Operating Officer, Matt Kawe.
Aloha. So I have the honor tonight to share a little bit about what we've been doing at Nā Kamakai, and you may not know about our organization yet. We've been around since 2008, teaching ocean safety and conservation to kids around mainly the island of Oahu. So our events were just every second Sunday we go to a different moku and teach kids for free. And you know, our founder, he grew up on the beach in Makaha. Some of his uncles are here, sitting over there, Uncle Bruce and Uncle John. He had great mentors like them, Uncle Buffalo, Auntie Rel, to teach him about kupuna knowledge, right? About the ocean. And that's really what Nā Kamakai does, is it passes on kupuna knowledge, right? So we work to create conditions to do that with children. So our mission, there we go. Oh, sorry. Our mission, so Nā Kamakai empowers children by connecting them to the kai and aina, and we do this by creating a deeper sense of kuleana and aloha for the natural environment and themselves. So just by being immersed in this work, they learn about their role in making our environment better. And you know, our ancestors knew how to take care of the aina and the kai. They lived in harmony with it, right? There was more fish, the fish was better for you, the reefs, all of those things. You know, we're just reconnecting our children to that. So we create spaces and moments really to plant these seeds in the next generation. This image that you see here is a recent ocean clinic this last April down here at Polka'i. We had about 84 kids that day, and they got to come for free and learn these things and enjoy the ocean. I don't know if you guys follow social media, but that guy, Jack Ho, is a really good foiler. He's a volunteer with us. So our program, you know, we demonstrate that the ocean is our family, right? Our ancestors knew that, you know, they treated the ocean just like they would their sister, their brother, their parent, their grandparent. And they need to take care of it. There are things that they do on land that impact the ocean, whether it's positive or negative. So we also teach kai. Kai means ocean, but we use it as an acronym. And this is a picture of Kaipo'i teaching some keiki at Kahana Bay last year. Kai ocean safety is a way to talk about knowing your limits. So we teach kids that, hey, check your na'au, know your skills. When you go to the beach, don't just jump in, you know, reconnect with your center, right? Your ancestors will tell you if it's safe to go. We also teach them to ask a lifeguard. And more importantly, this is about, you know, also going with an adult or asking an adult. You know, a lot of the kids, you know, when we say they lack access, sometimes they don't have mentors, right? They may have a nice house and, you know, they live in a great area, but they don't have mentors to teach them about the ocean. And then finally, you know, our ancestors kiloed, right? They checked for things in the environment. They identified hazards, rocks, winds, waves, other people. They can all be hazards that we got to pay attention to make sure we stay safe in the ocean. Also, we have a rich history of navigation and wayfinding, ho'okele, in our ancestors went thousands of miles, right, across the ocean. We teach kids about the star compass, how we can track the winds and the stars and make our way, right? So this goes back to the kilo piece, right? If we really take a moment and pay attention to our environment, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot for us to grow from. Heva'a, hemoku, heva'a. I know it's probably not the first time you've heard this, but our kids experience this by riding in va'a, riding with the uncles, learning about what it takes to arrive back safely, once you go out into the ocean. Because once you're in the ocean, you're no longer the top of the food chain. So this is a big part of what we teach, so that when they come back on land, they can look at their own communities and solve problems in the same way, right? There's no reason why we can't treat, our classmates or our family, in the same way. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have been going on in Pokai. So we have a property there by the grace of the USAG Hawaii. They awarded us a free lease where we have 1.25 acres on the sand. And we have programs running out of there every day since this past October. So, we've been around since 2008, but only recently we've had daily operations. We've doubled in staff. We've gone from, I think when I joined, there was 2 of us, me and Dwayne, and then we have like 4 full-time and 6 part-time. So we're working to create jobs for people in this area, people in Waiʻanae that are connected to the ocean, that have these skills, that are not necessarily valued in other industries. So this is our sailing canoe. Kumau is her name. It's a traditional name for the North Star. And this va'a was built by Moani Hemuli. I think her Auntie Tammy is over here, or she was speaking earlier. She's in the gray shirt on the va'a. And she has sailed with Polynesian Voyaging Society for, I think, about 17 or 18 years. She's currently on the escort boat, on Moana Nui Akea. And she works with us part-time to teach kids about ho'okele. And this va'a is for Waiʻanae. We made this with the help of Olukai Foundation, Pamela Midiar, and our other donors to bring this and give access to kids in this area. This was the last moku on this island that did not have one of these sailing canoes. So Kumau is, sorry, the wrong way. Kumau is rigged just like Hokulea. It's just half the size. But if we teach keiki how to sail on Kumau, they can go to Polynesian Voyaging Society. This is a beautiful shot right here at Pokai. Those waters are beautiful. And that's the morning crew setting up the va'a. So this is Halona Kamakai. This is the property I was talking about, 1.25 acres. It's the old Harvey House. It's at Pililao Army Recreation Center. And it serves a couple purposes. I talked about the jobs. I talked about the kids that get in the water here, but it's also a way for us to kind of bring community back to the Army. It's a way for us to kind of create connections there with the Army and those guys. But we'd love to have more of these on the whole coast. There's no shortage of need for these services. Is Miley still around? Yes, she is. Okay, I'm going to have her come and talk a little bit, but really what Halona Kamakai does is it is a pu'u honua for keiki at Pokai, right? So kids can come for free after school on breaks. They get meals. So 604 Restaurant gives bag lunches every day, which is awesome, for free. And Alicia Guys and Nikki have been providing canned goods and other types of food items. I think they're about 20 gallons of milk one day, and Miley just calls them up. They bring food, and then the kids take it home to their families, which is also, it's a big thing that we see. I know this summer when the kids were coming every day from 8 to 2, you could see how hungry they were, and how they would, eat multiple lunches and take home. And yeah, it's a real issue that we're working to support. If kids can't have food, they're not going to learn any of the other stuff, right? So they also have access to tutoring, and they learn to swim and surf and paddle, have fun, have responsibility for the space, And we're also teaching kids how to swim, actually. Leahi Swim School is a partner, And we did a class this last July, and we're teaching kids from Liliuokalani Trust how to swim in the ocean because there are no swimming pools. There's no swimming pools here, right? I think there's one that you can pay to use, but that's a big problem that we have. So I'm going to invite Miley back up because she is the queen of the halal. She lays down the law and she mentors the kids. She works with all these kids, one-on-one. So I just wanted to share some of her personal stories with that.
Aloha. I'm going to say offhand, kalamai, because some of these kids really do get to me, and I might just cry. So I'm sorry about that. Every day the kids will come in. Hi, Auntie. Aloha, how was school? Do you guys have homework? Grab a snack, that sort of a thing like that. We help them with homework assistance. We have Wi-Fi for them to use if they need. We provide them with iPads, etc. Some kids will come in, they'll grab one lunch. Auntie, can I get another? I'm still hungry. We'll give them 2. I've seen some kids actually take 4 lunches and sit down in front of us and eat it. And I'm not there to judge. I'm there to support them. I want them to feel that they are coming to a safe, non-judgmental, emotionally free, stress-free, just environment for them. So that's my priority for them. I'm strict. Some of you guys know how my grandmother was. I'm kind of the same way. You come into the halal, you're going to tell me hi. You're going to tell my staff hi. You're going to tell the other kids hi. It's not you're going to walk in here, put your head down, and not acknowledge anybody. We give you your food. Thank you. It's just common courtesy that some of these kids, honestly, they don't have. We're trying to take it back to the roots. These kids, I have 7 kids that come from Ho'omalu, which is a CPS CPS shelter for these kids. I have different backgrounds. I have some that have slight physical challenges, but we work with all of them. We're not turning them away. So we work with them to have their weaknesses. Sorry, I was just thinking of some of these kids. Some of their weaknesses, we try to make them stronger. We have local kids that live at Waiʻanae Homestead. They cannot swim. We live on an island. So we have to help them. We help them learn how to swim without judging, making them feel comfortable. We face a lot of challenges out here with some of these kids. With Elepaio services, like Matt said, I get to call Alicia or Nikki, hey, can we get some food down here? They'll bring some food down. No questions asked. Some of these kids, Auntie, can I take food home? Yes. I don't need to know why. Eventually, some kids have told me that his mom works 3 jobs and he's the oldest. He's just going into 7th grade and he has 2 sisters to take care of at home. There's no food. There's no food at home, nobody to cook. So, we gave them rice, milk, a whole bunch of stuff. The boy lives up Nanakuli. He didn't have a way to take home the food. That's a lot of food for a little kid to carry. We don't have transportation from the Kamakai. So I asked his mom if it was okay if I had my son take him home. Loaded up the car with groceries. No questions asked, baby. You don't have to tell me your situation. Just take the food, go. Anytime you need food, I leave it open for the kids. You take what you need. So I see a lot of that with a lot of the kids. Some of the kids are just constantly hungry. I know that there's more kids that want to come to our program. I currently have 23 registered. We want to take in more. The problem is there's kids from Makaha, Waiʻanae Intermediate, Waiʻanae Elementary, Nanakuli. We don't provide transportation, so that's an issue. A lot of the parents are working 1 to 2 jobs. And I know I'm supposed to have a max at my halal, but I don't turn away kids. I have some kids that are not even registered that will just show up. I bring them in. I worry about the waivers with their parents afterwards. I have one girl, she's in foster care. When we were beginning our program, she came in Within 4 months, she's learned how to surf. We have a free contest every year, Thanksgiving weekend, free to all of the kids on the west side. You have to show that you live in the area, because I've had people from Eva Beach claiming that they live in the 96792 zip code. She was nervous. We gave her the surfboard to use, all the equipment, which is free to use for all of our kids. She got 4th place overall. Now she's teaching the younger kids how to surf and swim. You know, and that's what we want for these kids. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. That's pretty much what it is. And, you know, these kids, I try not to get emotionally attached, but it's hard because they'll come up, Kumu or Auntie, and they'll bring me flowers, they hug me, and you know, I'm strict with them, but it's a constant for them to know that I will protect them no matter what. They're my kids. They're all of our kids. They're all of our kids. It doesn't matter where they come from. It takes a community to raise a village. And these kids are our future. And if we can catch them now early to show them that, hey, aunties and uncles, they may not be by blood, but they care for us. You know, and give them opportunities that they may not have anyplace else.
So we had a few more slides to share, but I think she shared the heart of what we're doing. You know, we're getting into the school systems. I know we shared that information with you guys ahead of time. So if there's any questions, you can reach out to us. I don't know when's the right time, but Uncle Bruce wants to say something. So I don't know if he can say it now or how you guys do that, but mahalo.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Frenchie DeSoto's third son. The third oldest. And you know what, I've been with Nakamakai from the beginning, and I traveled to Brazil, Tahiti, and all over. And you know, when I was growing up, we didn't know how to speak Hawaiian and everything, but now that we got the chartered schools that the kids are speaking Hawaiian, and we went to Tahiti, and our kids was all speaking Hawaiian and chanting, and the Tahitians was amazed because their kids speaking French, and the guys losing their culture. And us guys, we had the Hawaiian, they were speaking Hawaiian and chicken skin kind, you know, and the people would just hug us guys. And me, I had the honor of going with the Kamehameha schools and go to different islands and me meeting the mayor and the top chiefs and stuff. I was blowing the pool and everything, and the kids was chanting, and we converse, you know, back and forth. And you guys are doing a wonderful job, because when I was growing up, I pledged allegiance to the flag of, you know, we didn't know what was going on. But now that the kids and everybody is more educated of what happened with, you know, me, I love America. I'm a war vet and everything, but I love my culture. And you folks are helping us keep our culture, and I love you folks. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Halo Anakala, mahalo. Mahalo Nakamakai and the DeSoto Ohana. Next, we have our community concerns and celebrations, and we have a few that are signed up. And we ask that the mana'o shared be limited to 5 minutes, so we have enough time for everyone to share their mana'o. The first is Sherry L. Evans with the EI Ohana.
Thank you. Perfect. Aloha ahi ahi, and I want to say mahalo to OHA for making the trip to what my friends call the ends of the earth. But we welcome you to the Waiʻanae Coast. I think that I want to let people know that my parents built their house in Makaha in 1955. And to give you some perspective, that means I was 5 years old, and that I watched this beautiful complex that now serves the health needs of our Hawaiian community and other people being built. So I'm very grateful for all of our kupuna and the work that they did of the past, and equally grateful for the next generation that is going to take us forward. I think that it's very telling that Nakamakai spoke so passionately about our children here on the Waiʻanae Coast and the needs. And I actually had a concern. Let me see, let me get my notes. Okay, so I went to college, not in Hawaii, but I graduated with an education degree. And so education has always been my passion, because I feel that an educated society is also a healthy society. And so I looked up the 2023 census for the Waiʻanae Coast. Living in 5.4 square miles is 48.43% Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders. Our students' math pass is 12%. Our students' reading pass is 47%. 97% of our students are minority students, so Hawaiian, Asian, whatever you wanna, and 69% of them are disadvantaged students. And I think that Nakamakai presented a good capsule of how disadvantaged that our children are. And so I know that you have so much on your plate between OHA and DHHL. However, I think that at some point we all need to come together with the DOE or come up with some kind of solution so that we can bring more equity to our community. Now, if this means that we need a different teaching structure, or if we need a different student ratio, I don't know the solution. I'm just bringing this up to your attention because we can talk about housing and food and transportation, but if our children aren't educated enough, what is the point? We are going to have this circle, this recurring poverty view of our people, and we are a strong people. We're people that are smart, we work hard, and we are connected to our aina. And so I don't want the Western thinking or Western methods of educating not meet the criteria that our kupuna had for all of us. So I just wanted to say that a little bit about education, but actually my real interest in the heartbreaking scenario for Lahaina is that I read today's headlines, and this is what it said. Officials urge community to prepare their areas amid fire weather watch warning. What does that mean? That means that any place could be Lahaina, because especially on the leeward side, we have predominantly a dry climate. I mean, this is not unusual for our mountains to be dry. And interestingly enough, I didn't teach school in Hawaii because there's this rule that you gotta live where your husband lives, so I had to live where he lived, and he lived in the state of Alaska. And his career was in the Department of the Interior, Bureau of Land Management. And his job was fire suppression. He was the supervisor for the southern half of Alaska in fire suppression. And what does that mean? He was in charge of smoke jumpers, aircraft, suppression materials, whatever. And so I want to make sure that we all are aware that there are programs to help us. I mean, we hear the stories of somebody's house was built out of concrete, or they had a fire barrier of gravel or something around their houses. I mean, those are methods that communities can use to educate people on how to keep their homes safe. Because unlike Alaska, the homes here are single wall construction. And honestly, my husband was really scared to live here because it's like there's nothing between the outside and the inside to him, you know, where we have six inches of insulation. There is, across the USA, a program called Firewise. And we lived in Alaska and we lived in the state of Washington, and both of those states have that program. Why? They got trees and all kinds of big combustible things that grow around your homes. So I think that I want our community to be really vigilant, and I want our leaders to support us by educating us, because we are all at risk. So with that, I just want to say, aloha ahiahi. I don't think the solutions are going to be easy or quick, but I think that I wanted you to hear from our community of some of the things that we are concerned about. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Next we have Lena Suzuki of the Waiʻanae Moku Kupuna Council. And mahalo everyone for trying to keep it to 5 minutes.
Aloha everybody. Mahalo you guys for coming out to our moku. My name is Lena Spain Suzuki. I am one of the members and alaka'i to the Waiʻanae Moku Kupuna Council. In our moku, we have 2 kupuna councils. One is for Waiʻanae Kamp, and then there's us. And we got recognized by the House and Senate as advisory committee to them. I just wanted to start off by saying I personally reached out several times to your guys' office, asking you guys to come and sit with our kupunas here. And I've never got a return call or anything. I even went into your office and got to talk stories. I put the same request in, and I was asked to come to this meeting. Where there's a lot of good stuff happening in Waiʻanae, and it's all because of Waiʻanae, right? We don't really have too much help coming from the outside. You see some descendants from Auntie Frenchie. I may not be her koko, but I'm definitely somebody who grew up in her spirit and saw the work that was done. And there's a lot of work in Waiʻanae. So for me personally, I work a lot with the houseless. I just am a volunteer community member. I don't work for any agency. I don't get paid for any of this. But our people need help. We have over 500 homeless in our moku. 93% of them are Kanaka. And so like Kali, I met Kali because we took some kupunas to Uluke Kukui, and he was gracious enough to let them stay. And through that connection, we were able to bring Lula Lilo Trust to start that kupuna meals. And I also wanted to say, mahalo to Alicia Higa and the work that they do. And if there's any way that you guys can continue supporting them and the efforts that they do as they move forward with what they want to do, would be really, really awesome. I invite you guys again at your convenience to come and sit with the kupunas. We meet the 2nd and 4th Thursdays at Pokai Bay. We meet 9 o'clock. We just meet under the tree and just a beautiful open environment. If you've ever been to that space of Pokai or Neneu, whatever you want to call it, it's a very, very healing, beautiful space. But again, mahalo nui for coming to our moku. Aloha. So 2nd and 4th Thursdays, 9 o'clock at Pokai Bay.
Mahalo, Lena. Next, we have Lenny Ray Garcia. Okay. All right. If she appears, we will acknowledge her after. And next, we have Ka'iolani of Kekuanawa Foundation.
Aloha mai kako. I am Ka'iolani, lineal descendant of the royal houses of this Waiʻanae, the House of Mahi, I Keawe, Maweke. And I come here as a community member and a board member of Kekuanaoa Foundation, who currently works as a land manager for a few properties out here. And we stand in pono space to hold our people accountable, to not encroach, to protect their safety. There's a lot of pressing issues right now for our people. And as the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, I think I have a few questions that umbrellas a lot of people's questions. For instance, in light of the recent devastation out in Maui, there's so much that DHHL has asked or shared or presented tonight, but I'm asking the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, does the office recognize the awardees of the Land Commission Awards before I proceed? Any one collective understanding?
I'll be happy to answer that. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs acknowledges all Hawaiians, whether you own land or whether you don't own land. So if you're asking about that type of landowners, we recognize them too. They're part of our beneficiaries.
Mahalo. That leads into my plea to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. As a lineal descendant of a lot of Land Commission awards, there are multiple ohanas who may not be aware of their land entitlements. However, OHA provides a resource through the Kipuka database. And I like to believe the Kipuka database is not a history document. It's a living document and a testament to what you folks stand in, because that provides a resource for our people to find their aina. And Kekuanaoa Foundation, as a lineal descendant of him himself, our work is to stand in continuity of Mai Tutukane, Matayo Kekuanaoa, and to serve and steward in a pono, noble, meritorious process that helps our people return home. So our foundation not only stewards land management, but we also help people understand the process of going home. And I would just like to see OHA, on behalf of the community, those of us who are Hawaiian nationals who have abjured or in the process of abjuration from the occupying belligerent. I am a Hawaiian national. I've done my paperwork. We don't have space for OHA. I mean, OHA doesn't have space for us, maybe, because we're not identified in the terminologies that you use and provide services for. It is only labeled under Native Hawaiians. And I'm just asking that as the true subjects of this country, we need space to be heard. And our lands are still here. And in light of our people in Maui who have nowhere to go, those Land Commission Awards under Luna Lilo is still there. Because if we recognize those patents and those commission awards, there's lineal descendants alive. And I'd like to see OHA hold that leo to the highest accord. This is the time we need unity. I'm a culture practitioner. I travel throughout the Waiʻanae and I do my kuleana in regards to energy and aina. And so I understand the kahea, and it is so loud. It is so loud, it's hard to sleep. Our people need unity, and you are the people we look to, well, many look to. I am an educator, I have 3 degrees. My degree is in science, psychology, an entry-level degree. But with that being said, I have never been a recipient of OHA. Where's the help for us, Hawaiian nationals? Those of us who have separated from the state. Our lands are still there. our resources, our minerals, our water rights. So I would like to know if OHA is willing to work with those people, because there's no voice for us. And as tribal nations in other countries, they have a voice. You're our voice. And so I mahalo you for your time. And I mahalo you for coming out. And please continue to speak in unity for the people. Mahalo.
Mahalo. And I want to say that if ever any of you, and you particularly, want to come talk story with us, you know, our office is very available. It's right on Nimitz Highway across of Liliha Bakery. If you want to come talk to us and get more information, we'd be happy to share that conversation with you.
And just to note that we're always actively talking with our legislators, with the county, state, and federal family to talk about our rights and be an advocate of voice for our people. So please know that. Next up, we have Lokana Keli'ikua Pua. And I do recognize Kana, we used to work together once upon a moon.
Aloha Kale, yes, I'm still at First Insurance. Still going on. Mahalo, our trustees, for coming here to our moku. We know it's been a long travel and a long evening, but tonight I stand for my community. I am part of Waiʻanae Valley Homestead. Our mother once worked for Auntie Frenchie DeSoto, and prior to that, she was on the City and County Planning Commission. Prior to that, she was in the state legislature. And with that, she even was our founder for our community association back in 1977 when we moved into the homestead, actually established in 78. So and she was also on the board of trustees here at Waiʻanae Comp. She was part of the cancer research as well. My mom comes from deep roots. We came here in 77, but our father was in the military. But our roots have always been in Waiʻanae. So here we stand, and I stand because our mother and our dad, we have a home in our homestead. And recently, and you know, we try to continue her legacy, their legacy. As someone has mentioned before, we are not here just from today. We're here because of those that have come before us. So we stand with them as we confront you today. And Mililani, my mom, also wrote a poem about you when she was part of the women's poetry in Makaha. And it was, I believe it was A Nation Without. Something to that effect. So my mom was very instrumental in our community. She was recognized here also as we had this big event. But nevertheless, I stand because we have recently, Waiʻanae Valley has gotten a parcel out here, which is part of the City and County Refuse. It's a 2.7 acre. It's a solar energy. We're trying to use the sun that is most prevalent here on the Waiʻanae side. But the uniqueness of this solar energy program or project is that it's a beneficiary benefiting beneficiary. So to me, that's very unique. It is not a commercial person coming into our DHHL lands to try to do something for our people. Though our mom, them, and back in those days, they were really ku'e, they were really strong. You know, we come from a new generation, we have a new board, and we're starting to rise up again. And in that rising up, we have like Joe Lapalio, Waiʻanae Economic Development. We're trying to get our way through this. And so we're trying to establish ourselves there. We have some challenges. We had a meeting back in Nanakuli. I think I heard that DHHL has another plan for that site. I was very when I heard about that, because this is something that we were given the right of entry in December this past year, and we're working our way through it. And then to think that maybe they have other plans, that really kind of like, it kind of got disheartening for us. You know, so some of our members were kind of like, and they're not throwing in the towel yet, but we just need that support. See, when we try to help ourselves, and then we get kind of like smashed, it's just kind of like disheartening. So I'm not downing Kali, because I was there at his confirmation, speaking on behalf of him. You know, but we can agree to disagree. But I stand today because I'm hoping that our project will go through. I'm hoping that you've heard the passion of our people, that we are committed, we are dedicated, we have a passion to what we believe is right. Waiʻanae Comp is on Hawaiian homelands. Waiʻanae Comp continues to provide medical, dental, and everything else, food security for our people. The Elepaio project, Alicia has done an awesome job coming into the homesteads, coordinating with my sister Kapua, that we could be able to do these kind of things. It's just so awesome what they've done. I just want to say, if you have monies out there, please plug it in. Plug it into these organizations. We need your help. We can't do it alone. And you know, we shouldn't always be relying on grants or loans. Hopefully grants are better, right? You don't have to pay it back. But we would prefer stuff like that. I'm just standing because it is a desire that's in our heart to hopefully helping beneficiary. Right now, it's just a project that we're trying to work on. And if that expands, then we can go out into the outer community. But we have to start small because we don't want to bite more than we can chew. And if it becomes successful, then we can move on. Like this comprehensive has been very successful. And I thought to myself when I heard about that, and kupuna is very priority for us. We don't have enough kupuna housing here, especially on this side. And so when I heard that they wanted to use our site for possible kupuna housing, to me that was heva, because down there is our sewer plant. So why would we put our kupuna in a place that's it's an industrial zone. It's an industrial zone, so why would we put our kupuna in a place like that? Wouldn't we want our kupuna to go out and enjoy the beauty, the ocean, the salt? To me, that was the most heva thing. We are not against kupuna. We're against where they may be wanting to put them. So I just leave that. We're thankful that we have Uluke Kukui, Luna Lilo Trust, that is collaborating to not only feed our people, our kupuna, having housing for our kupuna, helping our homeless that are native Hawaiians. That has to be, when you talk about DHHL, that has to be the criteria. Sorry, but it does have to be the criteria. And they have been assisting DHHL. So I'm just saying that, but thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Good to see you. Next up, we have announcements. Members, do we have any announcements? Otherwise, I'll say what we have. Okay. So mahalo nui to Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Health Center for hosting our Board of Trustees and all of our group here this evening. Our next special beneficiary advocacy and empowerment, our joint with a resource management committee meeting is tomorrow, Wednesday, August 30th at 10 a.m. And then following that, the next day, on Thursday, August 31st at 10 a.m., we have our Board of Trustees meeting. And these meetings, if you're not able to attend them in person, they are available to view via live stream on oha.org/livestream. And our next Oahu community meeting is going to be Thursday, September 28th, and the time and location will be announced soon. So if you can just please check the OHA website of the calendar events, and these, this is what I had mentioned earlier, where we are targeting our Hawaiian homestead communities so that we're available to hear the mana'o of our people there. All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Can I please have a roll call vote?
Trustee Ahuna is excused. Trustee Akaka?
Aye.
Trustee Akina is excused. Trustee Alapa? Trustee Galuteria is excused. Trustee Souza?
Aye.
Trustee Trask? Trustee Waiʻanae is excused. Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Aye.
You have 5 yes, we are adjourned.
Mahalo lehua. The meeting is now adjourned. Mahalo members, to all in attendance and to all who have live streamed.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. Ahui ho kako malamo pono.